veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, 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 la 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 la. La 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 la. 'Cause I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, oh, and I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, oh, la 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 la. La 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 la. veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop.
Yes, good people, big up to all of you. Welcome back to Trust Perspective. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Morning Show. I do hope you're all doing well. And once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. And thank you once again for joining me. Yes, the game ended at Chelsea 8, no FC Noah 0. I expected Chelsea to beat them. It was at home, but not as much as we did. I thought we were going to struggle a bit. I think we're seeing different ways that we can approach games to get the best out of our players. It was a good game to watch, but not too. What's the language I'm looking for? Not to say because of that we've arrived. Yeah, we will face a much tougher opponent on Sunday, but we have to also discuss whether we have our best attacking front line. For the midweek games, by the way. But here I'm here. Let's see what those of you in the chat already has to say. I'm seeing one of my enemies there, and Johnny, nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well. And Johnny here is saying everyone needs to hit the like button and also do subscribe, hit the bell button to get all notifications so you don't miss anything whenever we go live. I appreciate you. Who else do we have here? Siaka, South Africa, nice to see you. Hello, Chelsea Football Club supporters. Yo, 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 Chelsea FC at class. Surprised you were you surprised? No, I just didn't know we'd score that many goals. Yeah, I didn't know. But nice to see you here. Let's read through what he's saying. Yesterday they were playing things in my language. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. All right, but nice to see you. Yeah, I hope we can keep up show that sort of performance against a much tougher opposition. Yeah, we were gonna win. Did I know we'll score that many goals without conceding any? I'd say no, and we could have conceded, but the goalkeeper did his best. It's Noah, yeah. After all, yeah. So what happened? Noah, as in the biblical name, the guy that built the ship when God was angry at at people on earth at the time. Heston, the ship sank. It didn't withstand the anger of Chelsea, by the way. But I don't want to compare it to the biblical story. Apologies. Big up to you too, Vic. Nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well. I know you've been absent for a few days, and we haven't streamed consistently, to be honest. But that I understand. Bills don't pay themselves, so I'm happy for you as long as you're busy. But nice to see you. And if you're in the chat, let's get your thoughts on the overall performance. For me, it was a good performance, and what I liked the most is the fact that how many minutes did he play? Tariq George. That kid is some talent. In all honesty, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but I'd start him over Nodin Madwick, in my opinion. But that's maybe just I shouldn't be saying that, but I've said it anyway. And what a victory against Mighty Noah. Exactly. That's another way to say it. I expected us to beat them, but not in the manner we did. And they were fearless, actually. They came, they attacked us. They didn't sit back, which for me, in my opinion, could have been maybe would have been a better approach for them. Sit back and try to hit us on the break. And had they done that, would definitely be going at them. Well, again, which will in turn lead to us not playing with balance. But yeah, they came. They squared up to us, uppercut to up. Not really uppercut to uppercut, but they squared up to us. They wanted. They were fearless. But that's by the way. Let's get your thoughts on the game. Let's hear what you have to say. Big up to you too, IB. Nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you finding the time to join me this particular morning. It is still 4:16 a.m. Las Vegas time, and very soon my time zone would change, and that will help me quite a lot. Because by the time the show starts, it'll be morning all almost, and the boys will be going to school with school bus, so it'd be easier. But that's by the way. Let's hear you. I'm waiting. Your thoughts on the game, positives, negatives, if any. We could have scored a lot more. And another lesson is how to get the best out of Enzo Fernandez. I get it. A lot of people will bring up the argument that he's again a defensive liability if you play him as the lone six, but there are other ways to conduce um, that aspect of his game, or maybe what's the more relatable language here. There are other ways the manager can maybe mitigate. I'm not sure whether you get that. Mitigate the risks that comes with Enzo Fernandez playing as a lone six. But he was just brilliant as usual, and that's not the first time. That's the second time he's been used in that manner. And he's shown that, yeah, that's his way. He's a deep line playmaker, and when you let him run the show, he does that effectively. I've been saying I have a coach Tariq over Nani, but I'm just saying that's just I did exaggerate. I have to be honest, just to show you. That's a way of me. You can say maybe letting you know how good I think the kid can be. I definitely wouldn't do that. You should know. It's more like I mean, I overdid it, and I did say, and I shouldn't be saying that way. But if you understand, that's me just saying, yeah, I was impressed, in all honesty. But thank you for cautioning me that I shouldn't be saying that. But let's read through what you have to say there. How about Coach Tariq over Nani? Come on, man. Terrible take now. If you said that Tariq over KDH, it will be understandable. If KDH played for Nani, he wouldn't have stood out. Okay, but thank you for that. For cautioning me, and I did say I shouldn't be saying that. Okay. Greetings to you too. Greetings to all of you. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular morning. Jay, thank you for joining me on the panel. I do hope you're doing well. Your thoughts on the game? I know probably you knew we were going to beat them, but beat them in the manner we did. Did you expect that to happen? I expected a few surprises because usually when you don't know teams, it's usually difficult to you can say it's usually difficult to not to come out the game to end the game without considering, or maybe without uh experiencing certain situations that you thought maybe, oh, that's it, we're in trouble, because they wanted to score early on in the game, and had they done that, probably would they'll make it a bit more difficult for us, and we could have still won the game, but it wouldn't have been as easy as it was on the day. They had two good chances even before we started creating clear cut chances, in my opinion. But Jay, let's hear you, your thoughts on the game overall.
Pick up, coach. Pick up, everyone.
Yeah, I do hope you're doing well.
Yeah, coach, I'm good. For the same for you. Look, it was one of those games that we all enjoyed it. We literally, take a seat,
Mm.
have some snacks in our hands, and like we not use any type of tactical brain. At least I didn't. I wasn't analyzing anything on the tactical, pad, and was just enjoying it. It was a free-flowing game, and you kind of always want such type of games every maybe in a season, 2 3 games like this. It's one of the most funny scenarios, and you really love to have it. And it
The
was
sort of game
some kind of
you don't delete if you record it.
100%, and that's one way to say it. But yeah, as you said, did I expect it to, go to the range of 8-0? No, I'll be honest, I did not. I was expecting much more of a regular pattern that we were having in the Conference League, in the range of maybe 4 or max 5 goals, and we will gift the opponent 1 goal. So I was expecting something like that. But it was a surprise. It was a surprise that some of our players actually played well, and it was also a surprise that Noah FC played really bad, or maybe the level was uh, quite low,
I think
as you just
you could
mentioned.
say the quality we have, it's I mean, they just cannot measure us quality wise. Otherwise, I think they weren't scared. They were brave, actually, the way they came at us, and could have gotten an early goal. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You know, the some of the patterns of play, the quick passes, the one-touch passes that they were having when they were kind of building their attack, it was saying that they were really brave enough. They were not scared to actually, leave their spaces and
Hmm.
go forward and attack and take the chances. They were not. They were really having that attitude in them. But as you mentioned, it was on the occasion of personal qualities that the individual players have. They were lacking it. When, all the final shots that they took on the goalkeeper against Jorgensen. All those shots were just so mediocre. There was no power in it, or they were
Straight at the
off target.
goalkeeper.
Yeah, or it was a really really easy save for Jorgensen to make. So they were lacking it in the final thing, and maybe the quality was not there, and they were having players up against them who are obviously much superior to them. But I think even they were expecting such a thing. I think they will appreciate the environment. They will appreciate this occasion that they played the two times European champions, and I think for such a team, this is the opportunity to play a team like Chelsea is a greater thing for them rather than having a result or maybe limiting the level of defeat that they're going to face. I think overall they will be happy with it for the opportunity. But I think, look, this is one of those matches, coach, where you don't want to take a lot of things from it. You want to say that certain
I mean,
players
we
were
don't want to
so
get
so
ahead of
brilliant.
ourselves because we beat them eight
Yeah,
nil.
exactly. I don't
Yeah.
want to like say like Enzo was brilliant. He did so well, and this is the match where he will now jump back to the A team. No, I won't say that because the opponent's level was such that you literally expect them to have a performance like this. So I won't be over analyzing or taking anything serious from this match. I think it's a good confidence builder for some of the players, especially for the likes of Tariq George. As you said, he played a lot of minutes. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for such guys, and that is where we can, appreciate the opportunity that we have in Conference League that players like Tariq George and other academy players can have. The Conference League allow us to give them these opportunities, and yeah, I think that's where it ends for me. Overall, I enjoyed the match. Yeah.
Yeah, Tariq's involvement is one of the positives for me. His involvement, the win overall, a win is a win, but yeah, I don't look beyond the fact it's a win.
Mm.
The score line for me, no, it just ends there. We
Yeah.
play a different 11 in our next game. I know Chelsea as a football club bears the name. Yeah, we beat them 8-0. It goes to nothing at Stamford Bridge. But the next game we might well see an entirely new 11. So Houston, I don't know what else. I think the only positive for me is Tariq Judge's involvement, and that's it. Honestly, it's more like a practice game. And every game, all the teams we play, especially in the Premier League, are not going to come. They will not come at us just the way FC Norwich did. It made it easier for us, and that's fine. I'm not trying to not what's the language I'm looking for here. I'm not trying to underplay. Maybe I don't think that's the correct language. The win, a win is a win. But then again, no, it's just leave it there in the Conference League. After all, we'll play against Arsenal with an entirely new 11. If anything, a few changes here and there, which we're not sure it's going to happen really. And I wanted to ask you, Jay, are you concerned that changing an entire team, for instance, we played a different 11, we played again, you're well acquainted with the 11 we played yesterday. And then on Sunday now, is it a Sunday or Saturday? But our next game against Arsenal, let me just simplify it without mentioning the exact day. We will probably most likely or see an entirely new 11, or at least he'd make up to 10 changes, at least nine. Do you think that is an issue to any extent?
Look, I think it's about perspective, coach. I think you can have, both looks on this issue. I think in the general way, you will always appreciate it because the other team is coming after playing their, major the important players they have played it in the Champions League, and your whole 11 has rested. So in a general way, that is always going to favor you, and you will always we always like be on a positive note with it. But sometimes, maybe just sometimes, uh, it can give positives. You have that flow in yourself. But I think they a 1 week thing is not something where you will also lose or forget your flow, because you just played a week ago as well. And if you are a footballing professional at this level, you won't be needing any flow with this. So I don't think there's any negative to this side. But maybe the next season, hopefully, if we are in the Champions League, I think then there can be a little bit of little bit of time in adjusting the levels that the other teams like Liverpool, City, and Arsenal are playing. They will have this thing in their memory. But for Chelsea to acquire to that level, playing 2 matches every 3 or 4 days, I think they will need a little time in to adjust that. But right now, I don't think that's an issue. It's only positive for us. But saying that, I also can remember that we don't utilize it as well. Remembering the United game, United actually played their team uh, against Leicester, I think, and we almost rested it, all the players, and they were fresh. They had much rest, and yet we were not able to find the result against United. So it should be a positive thing, but we are not able to capitalize on it.
I mean, I do agree with you. Not effectively. I don't. I think the manager may be. I did call it for. Was it Pochettino to do something similar, or was it Porter? I can't quite remember. I think mixing it up. Just make a few changes and not change the entire team. I think it will go a long way for us. Leading to some of the players playing, playing a lot more games can actually go a long way in terms of helping build more chemistry with the team, with the play, within between the players. I'm not sure what else to think of it. He knows what he's doing, and I have strong belief in his ability. I trust him to make the right decisions. Let's see how that. Maybe you could say the rotation has helped in terms
Yeah.
of managing the injuries we've had since the start of the season. Not any actually. Have we had any injuries since the start of the season? Or was it Romeo Lavia? Yeah, after our season opener, he was out for a while. Go ahead, Jay. You wanted to say something?
I just want to add, as you mentioned, coach, that maybe Enzo Maresca don't have that luxury in him to that he wants to play all the players again. Even in the cup games and in the Premier League, I think he might not have that luxury because on one, it is one thing to have a large squad. I don't want to say large like 40 players, but we still have a little, marginally uh, too many players than the rest of the teams in the Premier League. So you have to manage them somehow. You don't have the luxury to actually play your main players again and again. Then because then you will develop a situation where the other players who are quite important players, remember the likes of Nkunku, Felix, these are world-class players, or maybe used to be. Like Felix was a 100 million player at a time, so you can develop a very unhappy, bench in the background, which is not a good situation to deal with as well. So you have to kind of play them as well. So maybe we don't have that luxury to actually you just play all the players again and again. So
Mhm.
he might be under that type of pressure, Enzo Maresca, to give the opportunity to players. And despite this, you still hear the messages and news like Nkunku might leave because of the lack of opportunity, despite him playing in the cup games as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about the players one by one, but thank you for that, Jay. And Siaka South Africa here is saying I am impressed with the way Chelsea played yesterday. I don't know about the tactics and all that stuff, and the players played well. Yeah, they could have possibly scored a lot more. I think that's what you're trying to say. Their first starting minutes, but CFC work. Okay. Patrick just is saying, "Hey, hi to you too, Patrick. We missed you. I mean, you can actually update them quite a lot. I hope you're good. You can go ahead supply them with the updates you have. Big up to you to the blue Tiff game. Always nice to see you. He said, big up my bro from the H place. No, our brotherhood doesn't extend to the H place. You're there alone. Enzo has found his level. Noah, why do teams always take their foot off the gas when they get to 8? I hate it. I want to see 10. I think the changes. the changes, you could say, um, inadvertently led to us taking our foot off the pedals, not deliberately. I think the changes caused that. You could argue, irrespective of what you think of him, had he remained again, if he remained had he remained on the pitch, I think chances are would score 10. I want to get your thoughts on that, Jay. Fernandez, to be more specific, I think the changes impacted how we applied ourselves and how we played from that moment onwards. After the changes, yeah, we didn't create that much, in my opinion. But let's hear you, Jay.
Yeah, I think it's a similar case to how we got to know about the opponent team. Of course, Enzo Maresca must have like somewhat studied about the opponent. That is no IFC, but I think he realized at halftime that he was expecting a little better from them as well. So it was the team was actually not to the level what he also guessed, and they are much lower to it, and hence he thought that players like Enzo Fernandez and some others may not be required, and they had substantive lead. I mean, it's 6-0 at halftime, right? So.
Yeah, it was,
Uh,
6-0 before
yeah,
halftime.
so it was obvious for him to take the key players. I know Enzo, we all know that Enzo Fernandez is kind of not part of the first team or A team, but yet it is important because he's a very crucial player. He's very important and he can be uh, very key
He's
to
unique.
our
He's
Premier.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very unique and key to our Premier League campaign against certain opponents where we will require his expertise. So it is very important, despite him being not right now part of the 18, it's very important to, avoid any chances where they can acquire or get any injury. So I think it was this thought in Maresca's mind that played a part in taking Enzo Fernandez off, and he knew that a 6-0 lead is more than sufficient, and it will be good to give the academy boys a little chance, maybe more than 10, 15 minutes. He wanted to give them a little more opportunity. And I have no issues with it. I think we need to conserve players like Enzo Fernandez and the key players who are not part of the A team right now, but very crucial to how we will operate in the Premier League for a 38 game long season.
And let me ask you this quickly: why we're still on Enzo Fernandez? A lot of people think he's absent from the team. It's a permanent thing, and I don't think so. And I've tried to explain to people why I think the manager has opted for the pairing of Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. Are you one of those that believe that his absence from the so-called A team is a permanent thing?
No, I totally is against this thought that it's a permanent exit for Enzo Fernandez. I very much agree with Maresca's thought on this subject, where he said that it's a thing about balance. He wants to bring a more balanced 11 on the pitch against certain opponents, and I think the type of teams that we are playing right now, I think. And even considering that Reece James is coming back from an injury, so it will be good to have another player in the midfield who's more defensively minded and who can protect the centre backs a little bit more, give them a little cover. So I think for that purpose, I think Caicedo and Lavia are doing a splendid job. They are giving us that solid back defense, which allows the forwards to enjoy and express themselves more freely. But that does not mean that Enzo Fernandez is not going to be part of this 11 at all now. I think he's a very, as we have mentioned it multiple times, that is a very unique player. He brings on the table some of the elements that none other midfielders possess in our team, as well as in the whole league. I will go as far as to say that he's very unique in how he plays. Some of his passing abilities, the long balls, the chips, and the thing to just look forward, for a second and analyze and uh, to know where the players are. Some of his link ups with the forwards is actually really good as well. We all know it's in the it's in the news now that he does have some physicality factors. He's lacking some of those things, which is unfortunately a very key element of surviving Premier League. He's just lacking one of those things, which is bothering him being part of the first 11. But that
And
doesn't mean.
let me say this, Jay. Since before I forget, I think saying using the language. What's the language? You said it was. How did you? What's the language you use in explaining when you explained why You don't think it's a permanent thing. Was it the language? Oh, how did I lose it? Balance. I don't
I
think
don't.
balance is the correct word in my opinion. Why? Because if we say balance, for instance, um, we actually don't have correct balance whenever he's not on the pitch. If he's not on the pitch, we're playing with you can say more defensively minded sixes. None of them is capable of being dictating the pace of the game in my opinion. We are not, and the manager did say something to that effect himself. We are not
Yeah.
able to, you can say, efficiently control games whenever he's not playing. And here's, I'm going to try to explain this again. After I'll come back to you in a bit. I've talked about that at length, and it wasn't. I think that was a few days ago. That here's the thing: if we've been paying attention since the start of the season, we've been scoring tons of goals, but we've also been conceding a lot reminiscent of Frank Lampard's days. And you cannot outscore every opposition. And in most cases, some opposition, if they score first, the game is done with one goal. And if you come out to come get an equalizing goal, they are capable of, you can say, hitting you on the break and getting a lot more. So the manager had to go back to the drawing board. He need to solve the issue of us conceding every game. Even at that, for 9 games now, this is that I think that the only time we didn't concede this particular this last game against I think maybe was that stats I think the specific to the Premier League I can't quite remember, but we went 8 games without keeping a clean sheet. You understand? So the manager probably he's prioritizing solving the issue of us conceding all the time, and that's a huge problem. Which means he needs two defensively minded sixes, and not a situation where he'd play two sixes, one with the independence or maybe the freedom to be whatever he deems fit on the pitch, and the other charged with the responsibility of screening the defensive line. That has changed in most games. I still think there are games that when we play, you'd see Enzo Fernandez start. Uh, but I think the manager he was clear. Actually, maybe he used the wrong language. In my opinion, I don't think Enzo's issue is physicality. He can actually be physical, but he's just one of those players that he'd rather draw a foul than fight you in most cases. He can shoot the ball and shoot the ball very well. But unfortunately for him, a lot of people are reading it as so that's it. He's done. The manager doesn't want him. No, the manager explained. The more you can say aligned language may be, the more appropriate language would be it's a tactical decision to leave him out and play the more defensively minded players. And it's understandable. What did we you can and pay attention to how many goals we scored when he's on the pitch and how many goals we scored when he's not on the pitch. Since we're going by his absence, his presence, how well did we do in his absence, how well did we do in his presence? So my point is whenever we have the more traditional sixes, we don't create a much we don't do much offensively. The number of chances we create reduce if you paid attention to it, and that impacts the way Cole Palmer applies himself. Not necessarily because the opposition had 10, 15, 20 players on him. No, he's always had many players on him. But when you have somebody like Enzo Fernandez on the pitch, he can. I think that impacts. Helps him up his performances a bit. Probably a lot of people aren't paying attention to that, but let's hear you were saying something, and sorry for cutting you off.
No. Look, what I understand from the statement that Mayaska put on about this and the subject, the term, more specifically the balance term that he was putting is, I think he's kind of indicating that you're always going to miss out on some of the elements when deciding between the two midfielders. I think Caicedo is the one who's undroppable right now, and there's a subject about both Enzo and Lavia. So you are always going to miss out on something on some part of the pitch
Yep.
when you'll play Enzo Fernandez or when you'll drop, Lavia. With Enzo, we are a more attack-minded team, while Lavia is that type of six player. You can call him a six, maybe not the proper six, not the proper CDM, but he gives you the elements of a six, which will give you a more defensive cover. So by balance, he means that the team right now, as you mentioned, is conceding a lot of goals, and the balance that this team requires for right this moment, maybe in the span of next 10 games, 8 games, I don't know, depending on the opponent. It's more to, reduce the number of goals that we are conceding, and Lavia brings us that balance to be more defensively solid, while Enzo gives us that balance to be more attack minded. I think the balance is used in that term, it's not like a negative thing for Enzo or a negative thing for Lavia at all. I think it works both ways. So he's just
Yeah,
trying to
I
find out
mean
the
that's
balance
why
that we are
we
lacking right
have
now.
we'll have varieties. They complement each
Yeah.
other very well. But go ahead with what you're saying.
So yeah, I think that's the type of balance that Maresca thinks that the team require right now, and I agree with it because we are leaking goals for fun. We are outscoring the opponent, and there will be days where we will not be having this luxury to just outscore the opponent, and hence I think he wants to work on the balance of the team, which requires a more stable defense right now. Also considering the fact that our two center backs are very young and they are learning a lot of things. One of those is Fofana, who's been out for more than a year and coming back, and Reece James as well, who has been suffering injuries regularly and he needs protection as well. And that is why I think for covering the defense, Lavia is there to balance it right now.
Yeah,
There is
yeah.
nothing.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
you. If you the again, you've explained it in a manner. Yeah, I'd say yeah. I'm inclined now to say yeah. Maybe balance is the is the correct word, but not necessarily the correct word in my opinion. Given
yeah,
my argument, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't see football beyond the surface level, just like you do, or like I do, or some of us that understand the game. Here's the thing. I see that we lose balance the moment Enzo Fernandez isn't on the pitch. And I recognize that we achieve defensive solidity when we have the pairing of Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo. We were one of those that started discussing that here, realizing this is why the manager is doing this. And the manager did mention that in the future, it will become one of Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Do you remember that?
yeah. I think I remember something to those
To that
extent. I
effect,
think it
yeah.
was said.
So, but unfortunately, people that don't understand football, maybe beyond the surface level, they think he's done. No, he's not done. The manager has a problem, and with the pairing he's preferred right now, they protect the defensive line very well. And you did present it effectively, mentioning how we have a shaky defensive line, lack of experience. I get it. Fofana, he's played a few games without getting injured, but the truth remains he's not polished. He makes a lot of rash decisions, um, goes into tackles like he's a primary school kid and gets dribbled like this. So if you understand football, you understand Enzo Fernandez isn't done. And I'm quite sure Chelsea aren't looking to sell him. And I'm quite sure the manager wants him. Probably has explained to him why he's doing what he's doing right now. I'm quite sure if we had a solid defensive line with experience and everything, he'd be on the pitch most of the times. But we're not here to talk about that. We if you understand football, you understand that's not it for him. And I'm gonna say something I've already said before. It would be idiotic to exchange him for Chomeni, which means yeah, we're giving them Real Madrid, they're seeking balance, which is why they're willing, if we're to believe the reports, they're willing to let go Chomeni for Enzo Fernandez, which brings them perfect balance. And if we get Chomeni, we'd have more traditional DMs without a deep line playmaker. And if you tell me, as much as I love Andreas Santos, is not for me. I don't think he's a deep line playmaker. He's more of a hybrid of 8 and 6. But I'll catch up with what we have in the chat. Come back to the panel so we can hear from Bobby. I appreciate him joining. And here at the Bluetooth game is saying we missed as many goals as we scored. We broke a record last night, but we could have broken more. We have to add the context of Noah. Noah players are earning no more than 5K per week. Here's the thing, it's football. If you're better, you're better. I get it. I know where I know where you're coming from. We knew we were gonna beat them. I didn't know we were gonna beat them in the manner we did. But yeah, I'm not looking beyond the win. I'm not looking beyond the conference league with that win. After all, in our next game, we will most likely see an entirely new 11, if anything, 2, 3 changes, if that makes sense. Chelsea scoring 8 goals is incredible, but not enough to equal Bayern's 9-2 scoreline back on the first match against GNK Dynamo. Yeah, it doesn't measure that. And something else I want to say, quickly here. In most cases, when you score 10 goals, pay attention to the volume of chances you created. Usually a lot, and you see a lot. In most cases, you see a lot of misses compared to the number of goals scored. if that makes sense. Patrick Joyce, nice to see you once again. I appreciate you. They still got to play FC Astana. The names there, Shamrock Rovers and all that. Okay. Ancelotti really wants Enzo at Real Madrid, if we are to believe the reports, as a replacement of a Kroos. And even here's why I think that report is made up. Because even before that news came out, if you understand football, you'd realize that he'd actually be a perfect replacement for Kroos because he has that vision, he has that passing range. Maybe Kroos is a better passer of the ball, maybe, but Enzo is still very young. Maybe by the time he gets to that Kroos's again age, he'd be that good. Remember, the kid, he's at most 23. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he's still a kid, by the way, and a lot of people seem to forget that he's still learning. He still has a lot of learning to do to be more polished. If the current coach can blend the players who don't play in on regular basis with the players who always, there will be a quality and mental plus. I think I'd you can say I'd rotate, but not the entire team. I think it will help even those that play in the Premier League to play more games because the more they play, you can say the more helpful it be for you can say the chemistry of the team, honestly. But it's his job to decide what he does and what he doesn't want to do. But nice to see you, holler, everyone. Last night game was like a free buffet. People ate and started throwing up. Yeah, they wanted a lot more. But yes, then it was the biggest positive for me, the involvement of Tariq Judge, and that made me happy. Again, if we didn't beat them, then that'd be the shock of the week. Chelsea fans don't understand Enzo's role and how important he is to the tempo, even to Maresca's approach. Chelsea are blessed to have Lavia, Enzo, Casado. You can play them dependent on the game. This is the delicious comment of the day. I get it. The comment from Jay has been delicious too because he understands the reasoning behind the change in the pairing we see as our 2 6s in most games. In some of the games, maybe. Let's see what else we have here. After this, I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. I can't read everything you have again in the comment section. Next season, we will be playing UEFA Champions League football, and the players on the bench are gonna get architected. Yeah, there will be no B team. Instead, it will be one big A team. Enzo just playing in special games is not enough. Yeah. Let's see what else we have here. So that's it. The last one, Bobby. Big up to you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. I do hope you're doing well. Your thoughts on the game and your biggest take. You can say positive. Is Bobby still there, or did we lose him? I mean, yeah, Bobby's still there. Big
Yeah.
up to you, Bobby.
Yeah, big up, coach. I think you're with Jay, is it, Jay?
He was here,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, coach, listen, we still have. First of all, I want to shout out to Reece James' Kingdom. That was a very
A delicious comment, by the way.
informative comment. It really
Mhm.
was. And that's a comment by somebody that understands what's going on. We still have what I call a very mixed fan base. We're not yet really standing together on our goals because part of this project, I believe, this is just my opinion, part of this project is not just about the club, but it's also about the fans. The fans need to grow with the project, and the project needs to be integrated, and the players need to develop. I underline the word develop. We start to expect too much too soon, too quickly. We've done incredibly well this season. And as I've said on this platform before, I'm really somewhat thankful that our first exposure back to Europe is with the Conference League. I think the Conference League is precious to us. It allows us, in the process of integrating and developing the team, to stretch and utilize the squad and get these players all equally rehearsed in the Moresca way. At the moment, they're all playing one game a week. Some, because of physicality reasons and defensive reasons, are playing more in the Premier League. Some are playing more in the Conference League and the Cup. I reiterate, Enzo Maresca, it is one team. There's no first team or second team. There's one team. You see, we also have to push back against the stigmatizing propaganda that they use to label this club, to make this club look bad. Oh, too many players. We don't have too many players. Oh, Maresca, Enzo Fernandez has to go. We've got Lavia and Caicedo. Really? Have you learnt nothing from the injuries we had last season? Have you learnt nothing as to what it takes to integrate and to create a top grade winning formula like they have at Man City? And oh, you're right, coach. This idiocy that, oh, we should sell Maresca Fernandez to Real Madrid. Yeah, right. Keep strengthening other teams, solving their problems and creating problems for ourselves. We need to be more, I don't know how to put this. Maybe it's experience, maybe it's just a lack of, football years. I don't know what it is, but people seem just, some people, not all, seem just kind of short-sighted. They look at Chelsea from a myopic lens, and they look at, oh, this is the first team. Oh, Enzo's on the bench. Oh, he can't be on the bench. Oh, Nkunku's on the bench. Oh, he has to leave. He has to leave. Who told you that? Who told you? That's not Chelsea's objective. That's not the plan. That's not the project. All these guys in the plan, the project, the squad, they know the time of day. They know what they're doing there. We have to stop falling for media propaganda that's objectified to destabilize Chelsea, starting with the fan base, pushing silly rumors. He must go. She must. This person has to go to they have their usual get out of jail calling cards. Real Madrid seems to be the one at the moment. Chelsea's not in the business of weakening. Chelsea is rebuilding, and Chelsea has started that process now. I've said time and time again on this platform. Please, I'm ranting a bit, coach, so please indulge me.
No, no,
I'm,
enjoy.
I,
No,
I
no,
play.
Bobby.
Uh,
I'm enjoying it. Rant on.
I, I spend time and time again on this platform talking about, I personally don't believe, this just my opinion, that the squad will be Premier League ready till the middle or even the end of December. We're getting there. We're doing well. But that doesn't still stop the development. Why? Because these players are all kids. They're young. Wesley Fofana, he plays all these children into form. Wesley Fofana hasn't played football for nearly 2 years. It has stunted his development in certain ways. And what we're finding from the little errors he makes and things is that he's beginning to look and seek out his rhythm and develop within that rhythm again. Levi Colwell, you see, he's developing. We saw what Modric did last night with the goal he could score when he gets on his game. Maresca is developing these kids. Madueke, developing. Yeah, he's a silly boy. Sometimes he won't pass and all that. That's what happens when you have a team of children. They learn, they develop, and you have to go through that pain with them. You don't expect them to suddenly click. Oh, it's all going to happen just because they've had a few good performances. Thank God we've managed to address our injury problem better, although I'm kind of concerned for the weekend. I'll feel much better if I know Cole Palmer is fit to play and Sancho, because all of a sudden, as usual, Arsenal get all their injuries back when they're going to play Chelsea. But I digress. We have to understand these kids are young, and we need to be encouraging in our discourse and not always be slating the team. Oh, this person needs to go. Oh, Maresca's not doing this. Maresca's not doing that. The only thing, personally, I criticize Maresca for, and I'll keep doing it until I see evidence that it's rubbish, is this issue of Carney Chukwemeka and Dewsbury Hall. The only get out of jail card he has with that situation for me is that next season, I think Andre Santos will come back, which kicks Dewsbury Hall to the curb. I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, because I don't see any situation where Dewsbury Hall should be able to bench Andre Santos. And I think the reason why he may be a little bit hesitant with Carney as well is because of the possible arrival, well, not possible, the imminent arrival of Esteval Williams. But I'm thinking here that Esteval's going to need some time to settle into the Premier League and into English football. So I'm not sure he's going to be getting this starting place that everybody's going on about. If he does, he's going to be one heck of a player. If he can just walk in, he's going to be one serious player. So that's the kind of get out of jail card I have for him. And that's the only place I fall out with him. I don't think he's helping Carney with these 10-minute cameos, and then, I don't get it. Instead of that, I know they're not quite the same sort of midfielder, but Carney will do leaps and bounds a better job in the position he keeps putting Dewsbury Hall. But those are managers. Managers will always have that one player that nobody really likes and is a bit odd that he prefers. I don't know. But apart from that, as a fan base, my personal message is, let's just be a little bit more tolerant, a bit more understanding, and speak a little bit more tactically about things instead of always wanting to dismantle everything when it's going smoothly. They're beginning to click. We need a squad, not a team. Shut up.
All right, thank you so much. I'll come to you in a bit, Dante, if you don't mind. You know you're not important, so that's why I'm not in a hurry to talk to you. Are you saying Enzo is for cover squad player? That's what it sounds like. Who's saying? I'm not saying that. I don't think he's a squad player. I even before the manager decided to go with the pairing of Lavia and Caicedo, I've been saying. I
Coach,
think
sorry to cut
eventually,
in. Please let me just answer that.
yeah, go ahead.
Every player is on rotation. Every player in the Chelsea squad is on rotation, including Enzo. That's why Cole Palmer didn't play last night. That's why Jackson didn't play last night. They're all being rotated. That is the perfect way, and indeed the only way, to get to the top.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think it's a cover. I think it's a matter of tactics, like the manager did say. And he, again, I'm gonna go back to reminding you, he did say at some point something to that effect. It will be Fernandez and one of either Caicedo or Lavia. And I've always known that way eventually becomes the case because that's the perfect balance. One being a deep line playmaker, the other more of you could say a shield for our defensive line. But yeah, we're
And
still talking about the game. We don't have to start looking at players one by one. This is this conversation, you could say, emerged from what somebody said in the chat with regards to Enzo Fernandez. But Dante, let's
coach,
hear
can
you
I
want
add?
to cut. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask how saying him deep line playmaker automatically puts him in Chelsea grade. I don't understand that thing. Like that's a position, right? That's a skill set, and how is it making him into Chelsea's great list?
Into Chelsea's what was that?
The comment by the beautiful game, he's saying like
Oh yeah,
when you
yeah, yeah.
say deep line playmaker, you are putting him into the category of Chelsea's previous edits. I don't understand that. How is that's a skill set, that's a kind of positional thing. How does saying him that he's a deep line playmaker puts him into Chelsea's elite list? Doesn't make sense.
The beautiful game never makes sense, so you know that already. I'm not. Thank you, Jeff, for saying that. But Dante, big up to you and welcome to the panel. I do hope you're doing well. If you want to talk about the Enzo, I add your 2 cents to the Enzo Fernandez conversation. That's fine. But I want to get your biggest positive from that game. For me, the involvement of Tariq Judge, and that's it. Because other players, I want them to perform consistently, irrespective of who we play. I want João Felix, as much as I like him, and what's his name, Christopher Nkunku, when they get a chance, when they come off the bench in the Premier League and get a chance against one of the Premier League's team, and they get opportunities, open, you could say, in some cases, open goal opportunities, they should put it away. But let's hear you.
Yeah, big up, coach.
Big
Big
up
up,
to you too.
Bobby, Jay. That's all. That's everyone. Yeah, look, like we were saying in the pregame the other night, we were saying that I think there's going to be quite a few goals in this one, and it turned out we got quite a few goals. So the golfing class was massive, as I was saying. So it was a pretty easy game. They pretty much gave it to us, making a lot of mistakes. So, but we still had to get out there and play and
And
do what
just
we did.
quickly, they could have scored an early goal against us, right?
Yeah, they probably could have scored one
Yeah.
goal, maybe two, even two if they were much better quality. But unfortunate that they don't have that quality. So, well, that's the way we were playing. And if you remember, we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. I was mentioning that Enzo Maresca. The only thing I haven't seen from him play yet is playing with three at the back, two defensive midfielders, and an extra 10, an extra 8/10 with two attackers in behind the striker. So this is the first time he actually deployed that because I told you at Leicester he used to do that against the really really low league teams when they were playing in cups or even in the championship against the bottom teams. He actually did that, and they won quite comfortably every time he did. So this was the first time he deployed an actual two tens, if you want to call it, or two attacking eights, more like in his system.
I mean, the
And
application defines what it is.
yeah. So basically 3-2 because Renato, you got it on the screen there. Renato obviously inverted into midfield, so it was basically a 3-2, 3-2-4-1. So Felix and Nkunku on the pitch at the same time. And our friend Mr. Gee got a game as well. We were saying we were saying he might not get a game again, but he got a
He
game and he
started,
did
yeah.
he did pretty good. He put the pressure on like he usually does. He scored, so good to see. So that was my take. Yeah, probably Tyreek George starting, like I predicted that I think he was going to start. That's probably my as well. Seeing a youngster play really well. Mudrik's goal was really nice to see. A great finish like that. That was a really hard finish the way he scored that one. Other than that, there's not too much, to be honest. Like as you said, look, it was a pretty easy game. Yeah, it was pretty much over very quickly, the game. So after 20 minutes, it was pretty much over. So nothing too much else to take from it. Obviously, Enzo Fernandez playing in his preferred deep lying playmaker position. He dictated the show. Everything went through him. The switches, the pass, long passes, short passes. Yeah, he ran the show basically. 3 assists as well. So hat trick of assists. So he was the other outstanding player in my opinion. So, but I pretty much tend to agree. Probably the youngsters, like you said. I know what the rest of them can do against this team. I knew anyway. It's good to see Guy get a go, and he did okay. George again did pretty good as well. So definitely the youngsters for me and Enzo.
Yeah, it was a good game for the youngsters, for the big boys, if you want to call them that. They should perform and perform consistently. And it looks like, I don't know, the presser has started already. But we'll start looking at that. Let's get through with how the game went yesterday. Let's see, what else do we have here? Um, let's see. For me, I don't know. Dante, let me ask you this approach of the 2 10s or 2 8s, down to the application, maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Let's say this. Will it work against the likes of Man City? You say the
No.
teams with potent attacks. I think it's going to be a huge risk,
No.
irrespective of who you play as a single six there.
No, it wouldn't work, especially not with Enzo there alone. No, it wouldn't work. But like I said, it was a 3-2 with Vega inverting, and this can work. And that's why I was bringing that up a couple of weeks ago. What I said about Maresca, I wouldn't mind seeing him do that in when we play the lesser opposition, just to get on the front foot, start strong, and score goals, and be a bit aggressive against the really, really low teams when we play them. Because he did that at Leicester. It took him a while, but then he did that at Leicester. And I was waiting for that to see when that's going to happen. And it finally happened in this game. Obviously, he knew he looked at the opposition. He knew there was a big gap in class, and salary and talent, pretty much everything. There was a big gap. So this was an easy game for him to do that. But it can work. It can definitely work. And I wouldn't, especially against low block teams, and especially if we're, say, down 1 goal or 2 goals, we're down and we need to attack, and the other team's sitting back, like most of them do these days. I would like to see that 100%. Like I said, we haven't seen it this season at all. This is the first time we've seen it, and it's good that he's actually, he's shown us he was thinking of that. So this could be a little tease. Some, it might come in the future as well against other teams, especially if we're down. So that was my take from the game that I was most excited about, because I've been wanting to see that full on attack formation to see how we go with that. And yeah, look, it's just Noah, but I think against a lot of lesser teams, especially if you had a Jackson up front or something like that. So I think it can work 100%, and it was good to see.
Yeah,
But
thank
not
you so
against the
much.
big teams, obviously. No.
Yeah, a huge risk. Most especially like you mentioned, Enzo being the sole six there, it can be problematic. Yeah, because we know defensively, he lacks. That
Well, look,
doesn't
he did
mean
pretty well
that.
defensively yesterday, but you did see
Yeah.
them, even though Noah were very courageous, and they still got past that area a few times.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, he did well, but I think again against you could say the sort of quality we have in the Premier League, I think it would be problematic to attempt this against a stronger position with the potent attack. We're going to be in serious trouble. But more importantly, what we're trying to do is to educate people to understand why the manager has decided. You could say he prefers, and that's actually would be for certain games. He prefers the pairing of Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. A lot of people don't understand that. Siaka South Africa is saying we cannot sell Enzo or Nkunku nor any quality players to any rival clubs. The coaching staff needs CFC to develop quality players out of these young men. I just hope the directors and they don't sack. They don't sack him. They're not going to sack him. In my opinion, they don't sack Enzo Maresca. They're not going to sack him. He's doing a good job. A lot of Here's the thing. Let's mention quickly. For instance, in the case of Pochettino, even was it Poch who had, or was it Potter that had Zakaria? We were begging him. We concede a lot. Bring him on. He can make a difference. And the games he played, he did make a difference. I get it. We were told at the time that he got injured and all that. I didn't believe that. He just preferred playing more with CMs than playing with any traditional six. That's his approach. But this man realized quickly, yeah, we score tons of goals. We concede a lot too. So we'd be better off sorting out the situation, the you can say the issue of us almost always conceding in every game. That it's gotten to an extent that if you tell me Chelsea will win a game 10-0, I'd say no, I think it's going to be 10-1. That is if I believe you. But that's, by the way, Bobby. Jay, let me start with you again. Any player you want to talk about specifically, we can look at that player's numbers. Up to you. Otherwise, I don't think there's much to talk about in this game. The positive there, George, he did well, and what's his name? Achibon could have been part of this game had it not been for his reluctance to sign a new contract. And I thought he was going to be the first to make it into the first team, really, but he has he had he has a different plan. But let's hear you, Jay. Any player you want to talk about there?
Um, Look, I'll be honest, I'm a little scared to really pick out a performance from this game as it was against no
Yeah.
FC, so I don't want to big up anything specific, but yeah, I'll leave it to the other two guys to maybe give it a
No.
shout. But I'm scared to big up a performance from this
I
game.
mean, it's not necessary, really. I think we did talk
Jay's a
about
bit
that at
scared.
length.
What are you scared of, Jay?
Sorry, go ahead, Dante.
Like, what are you scared of, Jay?
I mean, I mean, we are playing no IFC, so it's no, there's no sense actually to big up a player. And if you are putting yourself on the line while bigging up a player, and that can be a case when he's playing in the Premier League, and you will look a big fool. So I don't want to make that.
And I'm still gonna say I don't know whether you guys differ. We need Tosin to be starting our Premier League games. Honestly, we should find a
By the
way. Go ahead.
by the way, there were some moments. I don't want to put or bring hate on him, but there were some moments where Badiashile looked shaky against the Noah FC. So I don't know how he
He
made.
did actually, and
Yeah.
I started
Couple
paying
of
attention
times, yeah.
after someone during was it during the predictions show, somebody did say something to the effect of he's never seen him put in a slide tackle, and I was paying attention yesterday. That was one point when at one point a Noah FC an FC Noah player ran down the flanks, the right side, with the ball, and he was close by. And the most effective way, in my opinion, to stop that player at the time could have been maybe to put in a slide tackle, and he didn't. He just I haven't seen him go to ground to stop an opposition player. He hardly. I think I can only remember one. I'm not too sure whether maybe I'm mixing things up here. Um, yeah, that's a concern. As good as I think he is, and I love him, but the jury is out in my opinion, and I'm not sure.
Coach,
Gosh,
did you watch the interview with him before the game?
no, I didn't. What did he
Oh,
say?
no, no, we spoke about it last night show. You said you were going to go watch it. Obviously, you haven't had time.
I haven't.
Yeah,
What happened
yeah.
really? But let's hear you.
No, well, like I was saying, because he spoke in the pre-game, he was the one that was put in front of the press, so he spoke, and that was sort of the first time we had seen him like in a formal sort of setting, speaking more. I've seen him in training and here and there, but joking around, not a bit more serious like that. So yeah, he spoke for the first time. A bit nervous there as well. Remember, I was telling you he was a little bit nervy. The way he was speaking and the way he came across. Um, so he's
But
still
you
got
did say
he's
his
got a good.
English is good though, didn't you?
Yeah, his English is very good. Not a problem. Most of the French boys, their English is very good. Uh, Most of them learn that at school, so their English is not bad at all. So no, he's a bit nervy. He was a bit sort of on edge. He's one of those, like I said yesterday, he's a poker face. Shows no emotion, so you don't know what he's thinking, what he's saying. Is that what he means? No emotion at all on his face. Very,
But
very.
he does come across as someone who has a shy personality.
Yeah, yeah. In training, he jokes around. Obviously, they know each other well, so obviously, but he came across a little bit nervy and a little bit shy in the interview. Yeah, so interesting to see that. I thought he'd be a little bit more mature because he's one of the more experienced guys. Obviously, been in the Premier League a couple of years now, and even age a little bit more experienced than some of them. But yeah, no, he doesn't have that leadership at all in him, from what I've seen, from what I picked up. Obviously, he's still developing. Some take longer, some take less, but yeah, he hasn't got that yet. Unfortunately, he's still a bit nervy, even in the interviews when he talks.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think one thing you say that yeah, it's
And it
important to
translate what
note.
I'm trying to say. Translate a bit to the pitch as well. It translated across as well. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so
It makes sense. Yeah. Histon, something you said that's important to notice is the pace of development differs for every player. Um, yeah, so
correct.
yeah, it differs for every player, and that's an excellent point there. Some people pick up and become even better towards the end of their career or midway through their career. Some early on start perfectly but doesn't end well. Clearly the panel love Enzo as much as they loved Gallagher, so there's no point in arguing. You bring on the argument. Who cares what you think? You know we don't like you. We'll just wait till the transfer window. By the way, check his stats for his for this season. Very impactful. Whose stats? Gallagher or who?
I think he's referring to our ex.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes, yes. I'll say the name Gallagher. Yeah, I'll say it.
all right. I
Not the
wish.
coach. Not the coach.
Yeah, I wish George
The
could
blue,
start
you shouldn't
against
be
Arsenal.
mentioning that name here. Don't put these names in the chat anymore, please.
Yeah, and he's saying actually he meant Enzo. Yeah, for me, he's
Okay.
been one of our best players this season. It depends on how you see it. And eye test doesn't tell you everything. So you need
Yeah, we
to
spoke that. Yeah, we
Yeah,
spoke of that in length yesterday as well. 100%. We said
yeah,
the first probably 5 or 6 games. Yeah, we were doing very well with him playing in that position,
yep.
and yeah, he
And
was very
we did
impactful.
win games.
Yeah, he was very impactful. The last few games, he obviously off field issues and whatever's happening. Obviously, he wasn't as good, but now yesterday again, he was back to his best yesterday. So hopefully things are turning more positive for him.
And here's let's say this. And how many goals have we scored in his absence? If we want to bring such, you can say, what's the language I'm looking for? Um,
Yeah,
such
not
you can
just
say
goals, creation,
non-objective argument.
creation as well, chances.
Yeah, how many chances? Yeah, we haven't created a
We're
lot
less
in his
than half
absence.
when he plays, way
Yeah.
lower. Yeah, very low. Yeah, when he doesn't
I
play,
knew you
sorry.
were being sarcastic. He says I'm being sarcastic. 9 games, 1 yellow card, and that's literally it. Okay.
Okay,
I
I'm not
don't
sure what he
like
means.
this guy one bit. Bobby, anything else you want to talk about before we start? We go see. Pay attention to what the manager's presser and see what he has to say. You there, Bobby?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Oh, is he? Oh, of course, he's going to talk about Arsenal, isn't he? That's the big one. No, there's nothing really to add to this game. Really, I would rather we performed like we did in this game. Oh, Palmer ready for Arsenal is still a question. Uh, um, and we can't
That's
complain.
an
You
update
know,
from the
8-0.
presser, Bobby. Was that an update from the presser?
It's a question mark. I'm going to listen to it now, but
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
don't know what they're saying. I'll let you know. Yeah, I mean, it's better we beat this sort of team like this than we get some silly game where we have to scrape through a 3-0 or 3-1 or something silly like that. The team's only 7 years old. It's from Armenia. With all due respect, you can't really compare their leagues to us. And we've done the right thing. Our program is in progress. That's all I'll say about that game. I think we need to. The big one is Arsenal, and I don't know. I have so many emotions about this, as always with Arsenal. But I think we're due.
You're concerned?
No, I'm not concerned. I think they need us to give them a good hiding. Now, will that happen? Will that happen? It seems unlikely, but it would be nice to beat them. I think they're getting too cocky. They've had too much luck, as it were, against us. They've never played a fit Chelsea team, and they have always been fit in that they've never played us with injuries, which I find personally very irritating because they build their bragging rights on playing a weakened Chelsea. And I'm not talking about playing them on the same platform. You know, they have a full team, we have a full team. No, I would like to play them struggling with injuries like we have had to do for the past 5 years, going on 6 years. But that's just me. I think a win against Arsenal is always a nice thing, certainly for our league position, and as has been mentioned, for their league position. And it's about time. I think the disrespect has got too much.
We need to beat them. Even a draw would be good. At least a draw would still be above them. But I'd rather we beat them. I think I agree with you. It's about time you say we mopped the stadium carpet with them. We haven't gotten good results for them. But here's where I'm concerned, and I've said this 1,000 times. Apologies, I'm going to say it one more time. If Arsenal, if they had lost 999 game and in their 1,000th attempt to win a game, if it's if Chelsea is their next opponent, usually yeah they turn up. But Houston maybe it's going to be different under Maresca. But let's see. Who else want to? Dante, you want to chip in before we go to Jay?
Yeah, and Arsenal are playing differently this season. They've had 4 bad results in a row now, and they are playing very defensive, and they're sitting back and then catching teams on the counter.
The
Hasn't worked for
irony
them
of
very
that,
well.
what you just said right now, just quickly, um, they did well last 2 seasons. I was certain they weren't going to win the league. 2 years ago, and last season I was sure they weren't going to win it for reasons I did explain at the time. He was busy making defensive signings.
Yep. Mhm.
They got their priorities wrong, and that's the reason why they're struggling a lot this season. They were
It is.
close
Yeah.
to winning the league in two consecutive seasons, but yet his priority was to make defensive signings, even though they weren't struggling defensively. That shocked me really. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, I think it's more the way they're set up and playing as well. He's changed that up as well. Tactically, he's changed it.
He wanted to
Definitely.
be more pragmatic, but maybe he's overdoing it. Go ahead.
Look, he's like you said, he hasn't got the if they have a couple of injuries, they don't have much depth at all, and that's what's happened basically. They haven't had much depth, and they've struggled. But also the way he set them up tactically is very different. It's more defensive, sit back. Yeah, he's not doing well. If like you were saying, if we do beat them and we do beat him convincingly, I think that could be probably the end for Arteta. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the end of him, because I think the fans are pretty much turning on him now. So even the fans
And in
that
all honesty,
obviously,
Dante, I apologize, please, one more time. Maybe because of it is you, I will always cut in. I've
no,
always
it's fine.
said
I
that
did the same to you, no
tactically,
problem.
he's not the guy. I think he had a unit for 2 seasons in a row. He had a unit, but from a tactical perspective, I think for me, he never did come across to me as as being tactically sound. I think he lacks, but he had good unit for 2 seasons. That if the Arsenal had a much better manager with the sort of unit they had, they'd win the season back to back. But they could have won done that. But go ahead.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, they were very close for 2 years in a row, and they haven't signed anyone where they needed to, and that was up forward basically on the front line. And yeah, it's gotten a bit stale, a bit, a couple of injuries, and that's what happens if you don't refresh. You have to every year you have to add a couple of players. You have to keep turnover. It's a That's the way you succeed. You keep the good players, but you need proper backups and squad depth, and that they haven't done. So yeah, they're now struggling. Like Bobby was saying, we had that problem the last couple of years, especially last year. And now it's their turn. So definitely don't feel sorry for them. So yeah, look, I hope we do. If we can somehow beat them, I think that could be very close to the end for Arteta if we do beat them by a larger margin. But yeah, look, they're still very
He's
compact.
confident that they're gonna beat us.
Yeah, he did say that he was very confident. The way they played Inter Milan, even though they lost and they had a horrible game, they said, "Oh, if they play like that, they'll beat Chelsea, no problem." Okay, very, very cocky to say that, but look, they don't concede much, so they are very defensively solid. So they do have that. They're playing on the counter, and that's a bit of our kryptonite at the moment as well. Teams catch us on the counter that sit back and set pieces. That's where they scored most of their goals this season. And what's our other kryptonite? Set pieces. So yeah, look, it'll still be a very, very close game. Could be a
They are
draw.
defensively sound, though.
Yeah, so it could be a very, most likely could be a close, tight game. So
If
we'll
they
have to
come
wait.
at us, I'm confident we're going to beat them convincingly. But if they defend it, they probably get chances to score against us on the break.
Exactly, and that's our kryptonite, like I said. So that's the only problem with that one. They're not going to play open like they did the last couple of seasons, where they attack and play really open. And we nearly beat them, obviously, last season in one of the games. So yeah, we'll just wait and see what happens.
We were saying this. Let me catch up. Let's see here if Jay has anything else to say before I go to Bobby. Because I don't like Bobby. I am being sarcastic. Yeah, I know. You don't need to tell me that's your thing. Those were lower teams too. The fact remains, in this absence, whether in the Premier League or whatever. I think he's talking about Enzo Fernandez, who scored a lot less, created a lot less, and we knew even before it became evident that we're gonna lack offensively, irrespective of how you see, but we're going to become more defensively solid. And I'm still saying the tactics he employed against Man United was just brilliant. It could have gone either way, and it just wasn't our day. Okay, I've fulfilled my Enzo hate quota for today. Let's move on, shall we? No, we're not moving on. You started it. Go away. So Jackson won the goal of the month. Which of the goals from Chelsea fans or the entire Premier League? I want to know. But which of the
Yeah,
goals also are you
I
referencing?
think
Because
it's the
I really
Premier
want to
League.
know, Vic.
It's
The
the
Premier League.
Premier League
Which of
goal
the
of the.
goals?
I think it's the
The
Palmer
one that,
one. You know.
yeah, we built up from the back, cut through everyone, and then he
Yeah.
just tapped it in basically. But it's a team
The
goal. It's
one
not really
squared
Jackson.
Pa-
for him by
yeah. Neto. Palmer to Neto to Jackson.
Yeah, the
so
Palmer
not
amazing
necessarily
pass.
Jackson's goal. Chelsea's
Yeah,
goal, team goal, one goal of the month.
correct. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. But I have to say Jackson because he scored it. So
Yeah.
No, no, I refuse to give that.
But I think that's how they deal it. They look at the whole scenario of the goal as well.
Not
Jackson
necessarily
is lucky that.
again yeah, so but this should be more of a team, the team goal won it, not necessarily Jackson's, but Jackson's, you could say, probably a reference point.
Yeah. Sanchez, by the way, won the save of the month as well,
Oh no, please leave me
apparently.
alone. I'm not gonna give him credits
on field or off
anymore.
field?
He's he's scaring the heck out of me, but go ahead, Jay, if you were still talking. Apologies.
No, I think it's Jackson and Sanchez both winning the award. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
All
He
right.
had a couple of good saves. So he did. He had a couple of really good saves. Even though we know he can do that. He's got good saves in him, but with his feet, that's the problem. We all know that. And his footballing IQ when he's in tight situations, that's the problem.
Yeah.
All right. We beat Arsenal. We beat Arsenal if we cut out the sloppy mistakes, which is the main reason why you're still going to see Romeo Lavia and Moses Caicedo start. I'm quite sure had that not been the case against Manchester United, we looked better when Enzo came on. But the truth remains, had it not been the managers, you could say, uh, um, intent to ensure we don't concede, even how those on the flanks apply themselves, like James and others, we could have considered a lot more on today. So maybe he'd do that. I don't know. I think probably they'd be playing a bit of mind games. Maybe on the day we see Arsenal defend deep and not play anywhere close to the way they played against Inter Milan. They'll just pack the balls and plan to hit us on the break. He probably do that because his job is on the line. But I don't want to get into that. Let's see what happens. We beat Arsenal. Yeah, if we caught those sloppy mistakes. Rice isn't going to play a broken toe. Is that an update? Or are you just kidding? I'm not sure. Our goalkeeper is going to cost us a lot this season, but so far so good. We're near January. I don't think we're signing another goalkeeper. 90 plus a pod minutes. I think if anything, what's his name? Jorgensen will come in. Jorgensen isn't perfect. Something even I realized even before he joined us, the way he parries the ball, and I did argue at the time that is fixable. Just it just creates opportunity for a rebound goal from for the opposition. But that's something, it's solvable. It's easy. He's just still 22. Sometimes it's easy to forget that he's still very young. And going by goalkeepers, you need to be 70 to be trusted that much. He's still a kid. I'm sorry, but that's not the only thing to beat Arsenal. Go ahead, let's hear you. Let's see what else we have here. Arsenal is a dangerous team on set piece, and they will undo our defense. They will plan to maximize that opportunity if they get free kick. Um, Yesterday it looked as if the set piece coach we hired started work yesterday. But that again, you have to consider the opposition too. We bullied them practically. Let's see what else we have here. Fantastic win for Chelsea last night. Yeah, if that's how you want to see it, John. But nice to see you, John. Thank you. Dante thinks Arteta is on the verge of getting the boot. With Edu leaving, I don't think Arteta will stay longer, but not this season. I'm not sure what to make of his situation at the club. I think probably they still give him, you can say, the benefit of the doubt, given the absence of Odegaard. They didn't sign a number 9, and I thought they were serious about signing Gyökeres or Osimhen at one point. A few other names were mentioned at the time, but they didn't sign any. They didn't. You can say they didn't prioritize.
They signed superstar Sterling from us.
Yeah, yeah. I think that they decided to sign a Starling when they realized that they've made mistakes in the transfer window. Yeah, Chelsea are going to beat Arsenal. I know Arsenal supporters, and they all say Chelsea are going to beat them. When I hear that, that's when I get concerned. Arsenal will beat us. They were on Inter Milan for the entire second half. I know they got is back. I repeat, they get this back. Here's the thing. One thing I'm going to say is this: if they played the same way they played against Inter Milan, we will get goals. We like it when you come at us, but they will get goals. That's for that's for certain. I'd be shocked if we don't concede against Arsenal. I don't know. I don't know where he is. You should find him on Twitter. Rice has a broken toe. But wants to play though. Don't depend through the pain, so to speak. I hope Lavia and Casado pay particular attention to that injury, and you're already in the H place. You're gonna go probably a much deeper area of the H place for saying this. Wow. Arsenal is under immense pressure right now. This is the right time to get away with the 3 points. I agree. Here's why I agree. Probably being above them in the table, that would be a serious pain for them. They'll be under pressure to win that game. So I don't think they defend deep or pack the bus like they've done against the big boys this season. I think we have a chance. But I cannot say for certain whether we beat them because I still don't trust the consistency of our team. We're doing well, but we're still not quite there, in my opinion. Um, I don't know, Jay, let's say you anything else you want to say since we're talking about the Arsenal game right now. And you can say, yeah, rightly so. Not so much to talk about with regards to our game against Noah FC. The sheep or whatever you call it, boat didn't withstand the flood this time. It sank. But let's hear you.
Uh, in general, I have a kind of a nervous feeling. I'm not really confident about this match as much as I was for the United one. Obviously, there is the thing about record. I thought we were able to, go and break the curse of Old Trafford, but it was not the case. And similarly, we have a very, very bad record against Arsenal at our hometown as well. I think Arsenal are unbeaten for maybe 6 years now at Stamford Bridge, which is horrible for a big team to have such a record at home. So it will be great to finally get over that record. But again, records and things like that actually may be playing a big role, as we saw at Old Trafford as well. Look, this Arsenal team is struggling. It's all over the place right now. I think creatively they are very, very much heavily dependent on Odegaard and also on Saka. So I think these are the two players that their whole attack is kind of dependent on. And Odegaard, I think I don't know how many minutes he played against Inter. I think it was just a little cameo for him. So I'm not really sure that he will start against us. Even if he starts, I think it will be maybe 50 minutes thing or so.
Because
But
he's
most
not
probably he won't.
100%.
Yeah, so most probably he won't start. And hopefully the young guy Ethan Yanieri, I think he's doing really good. He looks really fantastic.
I'm
But
sorry, Jay.
so, yeah,
I recognize that you seriously did change his name to an Italian name because I understand that I know the name is of again is
it's
of
tough,
Igbo
man. It's tough.
origin. So
I
you
tried
called him
to
Yanieli.
put it in the I tried to put it under the carpet, but yeah, thank
It's
you.
Waneri. Yeah, that name is of Igbo origin, and I actually do know the meaning because it's my
Yeah,
tribe. But go ahead.
I
That
thought
was funny
I
though.
thought
That
I
was
would
funny.
slide it, but thank you for making it a highlight.
No, you do. You
So,
don't do that to me. But just go ahead, Zay.
so yeah, I think he looks really promising. But fortunately for us, and unfortunately for Arsenal, uh, Mikel Arteta doesn't seems to trust him at all right now, and he doesn't really start him or give him the opportunity. Hopefully, it's more of a case for one more match and he doesn't start. But again, the major problem, the elephant in the room is the set piece thing. It's like total, two polar opposite things coming to meet each other. We are really, really poor. in defending set pieces, and our aerial set from the opponent, defending them is really bad. While Arsenal is one of the best, and it looks like their dark art or whatever you want to call them. It is their major thing. They will come at you, they will attack, they will look to find a corner or a free kick, and they will take the lead. And if they get the lead, then they will go the whole park the bus thing for the entirety of the match, and hopefully it works for them. This is their whole game plan for the last, I don't know, maybe the last few games, and in this season in general. So I just wish that we don't concede early to them. We don't give them the lead, and it is actually the case that we actually take the lead early. That will be really important for us, because I think in the initial phase when the game starts, it will be really open. And that is the moment where we will have the opportunity to, take advantage of the spaces that they will leave behind. The midfield party, or maybe Declan Rice will start, and Rice is not in the greatest of form this season. So there is a battle to be won by Caicedo as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward for this game, but the thing that I expect is a draw from this game, realistically. But I'd love to have a victory.
A draw that
So yeah.
wouldn't be a bad result, would it?
It won't be a bad result considering, Arsenal, how they are playing for the last two seasons. But it will be kind of a bad result if you're considering the form of Arsenal and how they're performing. And but yeah, I won't be surprised if it's a draw. I just don't want to take a defeat there. Uh, but let's hope for a victory. Let's hope that the set piece thing is avoidable. I don't know if Maresca will change the lineup or the back line and maybe put some height advantage. But doing that, you will be limiting yourself, on the ball if you are going to include maybe Vega or the two centre backs, the Monaco centre backs. But I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going to happen either. Let's see. Arsenal's current form worries me. It sets up nicely for Charity FC to show up. Yeah, yep, exactly my argument right there. But hopefully, signs are that we've actually find Charity FC maybe not, that has not been much of an issue this season, but not enough sample size yet. Caseto reminds me of N'Golo Kante back in the day. He will get there. He's not quite there yet. Kante is different in the sense of, even if you play Kante as a number 9, he still uh be one of the you could say one of the guys that stopped you from conceding goals. Yeah, I'm not sure how else to explain how different he is. But yeah, Casado will get there. I'm not saying he can't. He will get there. Arsenal are struggling due to the absence of Odegaard's creativity, but he's back now, and Arsenal's. I hope they start Odegaard, because usually when you start on a player of his quality that's not 100% under you can say under pressure like that, I think they falter. Most likely they will falter. It's just like Pochettino deciding to play Kane when he returned in that Champions League final, but they've been doing well in his absence, but probably because of his, you can say, profile. And I don't know how he was pressured into starting him for one way or the other. And that, for me, that led to them losing that final. I think they could have done better without, you could say, starting him. And they did well in his absence until that. I'm not sure how else to argue that, but my point is, Odegaard starting would be a good thing for us, not necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion. But we'll see. We couldn't even unlock Manchester United defense. Yeah, why do you think that was the case? If Arsenal score first on Sunday, we're in trouble. That's it. We're done. Yeah, I think I agree with you. Good morning to you too, Chelsea. Ultra nice to see you. And the Prince is here. Big up to you too, Chelsea family. Winning Arsenal would be a big statement. I believe we need to beat them. I think we can. A draw would be a good result, and we have in a good enough squad to beat them. Will we? That's a question the manager and the players will have. Will they'd have to answer on that day. Anyone who comes from the injury is never 100%. Yeah, yep, and he hasn't played any minutes before. So it's my belief that he's not going to be 100%. And I'm going to, Bobby, anything else you want to say before we start looking at comments from the manager's presser? I forgot I had coffee by my
I
side.
thought I thought you weren't going to engage with your panel. We've been talking for so long.
Oh
You
my
just abandoned
goodness.
us.
Oh
And
my goodness. I was gonna be I was gonna ask you for your ID if you didn't complain, Bobby. Go ahead, bro.
I have to tell you off sometimes. Coach, look, we can beat Arsenal this time around. I think we can. Will it be easy? It's never easy against them. I think their investment in physicality this season is going to be their undoing because it's not really how they play or how they've played at their best. And they're going to pick up cards. Now, this game, this is just my opinion,
Hmm.
is we have a very formidable striking capability. Our defense is somewhat weak. Our midfield, uh, well, we've still got Lavia, who I don't think has played 90 minutes yet. Didn't play at all last season. And of course, Caicedo, and
He
who knows
hasn't
what
played
else.
any 90 minutes?
He hasn't played a full 90, no.
Really?
Um, no, he hasn't. He hasn't. He's been without football for a year. You're 20 years old. I mean, it's going to take you time. And we're protecting him a bit. So it's going to be a game where the defense really has to be on their toes. I've just listened to Enzo's press conference, and he
Yeah,
mentioned
please help us with
Arsenal.
the highlights of his presser, Bobby.
Yeah, he mentioned how they have made note of the fact that they are very dangerous with them. Well, they certainly were when they played in their Champions League game with their set pieces, and we have to pay attention to that. Um, Look, my take on this is: look, we go into this game with no fear, absolutely no fear. You can run them ragged. Yeah, they are fast centre backs and so on, but movement is going to be very important. If we keep the movement going, that will force them to move out. They will create spaces and we can punish them. We are a team that can punish you if there are spaces with which to punish, especially people like Jackson. Palmer, he says he's still watching to see if he's fit and so on. So it's not going to be easy, but we can do it. We have to believe, we have to not respect them too much. And even the Maresca himself says, look, we can beat anybody. It's just how we apply ourselves. And I think it's important. Obviously, we're not going to take them for granted. We know who they are, we know what they can do. But the issue is us. And we have to go with the belief that we can take them apart. I don't see how it'll be interesting to know how they'll react if they go a couple of goals down. I think they'll lose their heads and start picking up cards. I really do. I think if we use movement and score against them and kind of frustrate them a little bit, they will start using too much physicality and they will get cards. I can see that happening with them very easily.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And one thing, we're going to see a different Arsenal, an even better Arsenal than Arsenal that played against Inter Milan. That's because usually the game against Chelsea is usually one of their most important games. If it just seems as if they beat us and if they end up not winning trophy at the end of the season, that's fine. But for for by them, as long as they beat us, but we'll see how that ends. Palma is not 100% fit at the moment either. I will see, but don't expect much on Sunday. I think he starts. Could be mind games, in my opinion. A 3 point gap going into the international break could be a significant nail in Arsenal's coffin. We need to beat them. I'll take a draw, but I think we need to beat them. Recently, our build up is too slow, which is going to cost us. And beating Arsenal, Maresca need to do something. Houston, I think he did complain about that, even when he wants us to slow down a bit. We're always in a hurry to go forward, which can at times lead to us making mistakes and conceding the process. So he wants to, you can say, ensure we're able to control games when need to be. When if needed, if need be, yes, the defense has to be on point, but we know Colwell will make a mistake, and Fafana will miss a challenge as usual. As that's another way of saying, yeah, I've said 1,000 times, the way he goes for his tackle, just like a primary school kid. He will become polished eventually, but right now he's not polished, not even close to being polished. The talent is there, but my goodness, he's so easily dribbled past that it's not funny, really. What else do we have? We had,
Do you think we should play Tosin?
I think
But
Tosin should start, and
he's
with the
already
two,
played, hasn't he?
yeah, go ahead, Bobby, go ahead.
He's already played yesterday, and he usually doesn't build them back to back like that.
So probably he's not going to play.
I don't think
I
so.
think, yeah, a cool-headed Tosin, I think, will be a serious plus against Arsenal. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, Tosin played, but Tosin really, they didn't really do much, to be honest. And central defenders, they can
No,
back up.
Bobby's just okay. You're saying he still be, you could say, he still be strong enough to play. Is that the point you're trying
Oh,
to make?
100%. Especially the centre backs, especially they don't run as much, and they didn't run much yesterday at all, to be honest. Only a little bit in the last 15, 10 minutes. But for centre backs, doesn't make a difference. You can play game after game, no problem. If Maresca sees him as tactically that he will fit better, he will put him in. I don't think playing against Noah, yeah, maximum. We were at home as well, so we didn't travel, so I don't think that makes a difference.
If he really wants to play him, he'd play him.
Correct.
That's your point, right? Yeah. Hopefully Michael Oliver signs off with Trossard. I think I would say this. I don't know whether it's just me or if I'm correct here. I think Michael Oliver, the recent games he's officiated between Chelsea and our opponents, I think he's trying to overcompensate somehow. Honestly, Maresca set piece. They Arsenal are very good. I watched the
I
Champions
can
League
assure
game.
you, Michael Oliver against Arsenal will do us no favors whatsoever.
Okay. And if you say that, I'll believe you. You know better than I do. I watched the Champions League game against Inter Milan, and every corner was a smelling goal. Yep, they're good at that. And Uncle Justus, nice to see you, my brother. I do hope you're doing well. Enzo makes our offense better. That's it. That's the comment, and I couldn't agree more. I know Vince probably Vic would would disagree, and the Blue Team again would disagree, but a lot of people who only see football on a surface level, they don't think that deep. They don't see it, and that's it. Once again, that's the comment, and that's one of the most delicious comments of the day, which means you understand what he brings to the table. We need him. We don't need to sell him, but thank goodness the club, Chelsea, aren't looking to sell him. It's just the fans are expressing what they see happen at the club. Enzo Maresca and Cole Palmer, he's getting better. Hopefully, we can have him for the session at least on Saturday, and then we can take a decision. I hope he plays. I think he's going to play because he finished the game. The last game he played, he finished. Maybe he's just playing mind games there.
It's just
Tolson should definitely
yeah.
start against Arsenal. We need height, physicality. More importantly, somebody that reads the game very well. Somebody that just doesn't put in tackles recklessly and end up being dribbled as if he was a pole. Yeah, but let's see you, Dante. You were saying something.
Yeah, like you said, he did continue that game. So to me, when I saw the challenge, it was probably just bruising on his knee because that's where he got hit. So it's just bruising. So they're obviously managing that. Obviously couldn't move too well, so he's taken a couple of days off training. But I would be very surprised that he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he will play. It's just a bit of so the swelling goes down. Obviously, they're doing some work on it, but it's just bruising. So I think he should be
Yeah,
fine by the game time.
yeah, I agree.
So probably he just didn't want to say make it clear whether he starts or not. Go ahead, Bobby. You were saying something. I
No,
apologize.
I completely agree. There's no point him, doing anything other than what he's doing and keeping them guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and a
and
bit of
that's
mind
right.
games as well, of course.
Yeah, because it just doesn't make sense that he finished that game. He wasn't taken off, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
wasn't taken off straight away. No, no, coach. And that's
hmm
why where he got hit, the way he got hit, the stud on the knee there, I've copped that many times. Yeah, the bruising's pretty bad for a couple of days. So that's what I see what it is. And yeah, they're keeping him on ice, cold ice Parma.
Oh yeah, rhymes. You want to start rapping now? Enzo,
No, no,
no,
no.
we
You
don't.
do all the singing. That's fine. I'll leave the singing and rapping to you.
I knew when I said Vic was never. He wasn't gonna like it. Look at him. He's crying already.
He's crying a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. Let him shed a tear. It's fine.
Vic, that pained you, didn't it? All right. Modric or Sancho, Neto or Madueke? Neto over Madueke. Modric or Sancho depends on how Arsenal play. I think we'll have them both available. So let's see. Let's see what happens there. Really. We'll have them both available for that game. Maybe I think Sancho will be ready. But I'd
Yeah, I
rather
would go
Sancho if
Sancho.
Arsenal defend deep. If there are
Yeah,
if there's space for to exploit if Arsenal are attackers, then Mudrik. Go ahead,
yeah.
Bobby. Were you saying something?
No, I agree. I would prefer Sancho to start. And
Yeah.
it might be one where you see this time he starts Neto. He'll bring Noni on later, but I have a feeling Noni will come off the bench for this one.
Yeah. Against Arsenal, is that what you're saying, Bobby?
Yeah, of course. That's our
I have
next
a
game.
feeling that probably he's not going to even be on the bench. I'm sorry, but we'll find out on that day. As much as I like him, the signs are clear. And here's what has I get it. Probably he's not been given. You could say he doesn't come on time. But the times he's come on, he hasn't actually shown that he should be starting. As much as I know there's an excellent player out there, and I'll take him anytime, any day over KDH, but when you get opportunity, whether be it 10 seconds, take it. He hadn't done that. He hasn't done that, in my opinion. But we'll see. I think if he makes it to the bench on that day, I'll be shocked. Palma is not training, and it's Friday. He will play, but he needs it to give it all. The tackles was in the 90. The tackle was in the 90. Okay, third minute, so probably makes sense that he finished the game. So thank you for that, Vic. You and I are friends now, right? I think it's quite obvious that Neto is part of our first team. It was only a matter of time, and Dante will tell you that. He did say that 1,000 times. Enzo, please bench Madueke. They will rotate. We're blessed to have them both, but I can't quite say how they differ. I think probably off the bat, Neto is pacier. He's quicker than Madueke, in my opinion. I haven't checked to confirm, but I'm just gonna go with oh, there you go. I wasn't paying attention, Uncle Justice. Apologies for that. Felix is a star as well on the Palmer position. Yeah, he can fulfill that role. If KDH scores the winning goal against Arsenal, will everything be forgiven, Bobby? He won't consider it. That's I'll just put it. Maresca should drop Madueke and start Enzo,
Yeah, it would help.
but he won't do that. Unfortunately, he won't.
It would
Yeah, Bobby,
help.
were you saying something?
Well, if he scores a winning goal against Arsenal, it would help. But yeah, he's the one that I don't think should even be on the bench.
Um, just a big up, welcome to the panel. It's been a minute. I know you've been busy. I appreciate you finding the time to join us. Your biggest takeaway from that game, you heard us discuss Enzo Fernandez, his importance, and all that. And do you think we can beat Arsenal? I think we'll round off with you there, except if Dante still has time to stay more and ask the questions he does have. Can ask excellent questions whenever you put him in charge. But beyond that, his takes are all crappy. But Uncle Justice, let's hear you. It's not on mute. I'm not sure. Uncle Justice, if you can hear me, we cannot hear you.
Good setup,
Honestly.
Uncle Justice. Set him up nicely. Well done.
He knows it's not my fault, so you can't blame me. But I'll switch scenes to see if that helps. I see us giving props to Cole, but guys, our defense is messed up. I didn't give him props. I would tell you he's improved, but he's not there yet. Our defense has been absolute, you could say, horse dung, in my opinion. Honestly.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Crystal clear. Go ahead. Yep, go ahead. We can hear you if you're there, Uncle Justice.
Okay. Again, you're not going to be able to take uh, much. Yeah, I think I'm on delay or something.
Possibly.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
All right. Dante, you here? Can you handle it?
Yep, Coach. Do you need to go or?
All right, you can go ahead. You be the one to ask the questions, but I want to make sure that just as it's working, because if it goes down, you don't have access to this app. You're not going to be able to add them back.
Okay.
Now, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
He's back now. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, crystal clear. Go ahead, Dante. I'm handing over to you, brother.
Yes, Justice. Did you hear what we said just about Enzo?
Well, yeah. Again, Enzo's importance was shown because we play a faster tempo football match when he's there. And let's understand why Enzo Fernandez is not playing in the Premier League right now. It's got nothing to do with Enzo Fernandez. It has to do with the fact that we have no defense. The center backs have been awful. The goalkeeper have been awful. So he can't risk playing a more offensive midfielder in that position because he has to cover for what I like to term the Bermuda Triangle in back, right? Which is where our hopes and dreams go to die. Because these guys are absolutely awful at one-on-one defending. As soon as you get past that midfield, I think there's probably about a 60 or 70% chance you're going to score because our defenders cannot defend. So he's made a few changes to our lineup to compensate for, number one, the fact that when you take Enzo Fernandez out of that midfield, you have no playmaker there. And two, he has to cover up the defensive liabilities. So what has he done? He's played Reece James at left back because if you notice, that would be a position that Enzo Fernandez would take up in the buildup, is that kind of left-sided deep midfield position that Reece James is now taking up, which, of course, Reece is a better defender. And you're using him as the deep line playmaker to spray balls around. Now, James has not been great doing that. I can give you a number of passes that he's misplaced playing horizontal across the midfield that he should never play. If Enzo played those balls, we'd be all here going, "Oh, he's crap. You got to get him out of the club." But it's Reece James, so it's okay. Reece James has also lost the ball a lot in that position, gone down way too easy, and got lucky that the referees have given him those calls. Okay, fine, fair enough. He's Cobham and he's Chelsea through and through, so nobody says anything. He hasn't been particularly great doing that. And then we played Gusto at right back and used him as a decoy in the midfield to drop Palmer into almost that right back position to give him more freedom to get on the ball. Great, that's awesome. You can see he can pick up he can pick out a pass from deep. We saw that for his pass for Neto. But you put way too much on that guy's shoulders. You would rather have him receive the ball toward the offensive box so he can do his couple passes and get a shot off, because he's still our best scorer in that first team, if you want to call it that. So you're doing all these things, all these tweaks. I like to call it a lot of pepness, because that's what Pep would do. Yeah. And to me, it's just, look, the talent is good enough on this team to line up and play. Now, does that mean that your favored center backs might not be playing? They're not very good one-on-one defenders, so you find your best one-on-one defenders and you have them make short passes to Enzo Fernandez and let him start the play. I mean, there's other ways you can you can change stuff up, but um, continue to go down this path. Fafana and Caldwell are horrible pairing, right? Caldwell is not physical enough to be the physical guy in a big little man center back pairing. He's just not physical enough, and he's not very good at one-on-one defending or sweeping. Fafana is way too rash chasing people into the midfield. Makes challenges he should not make, and he leaves us open in all sorts of positions, and it's not good, right? I do know he likes to play a high line, and Fafana's speed helps him do that. But if he's rash and he's going into challenges he shouldn't be, he's not in position to help out the defense anyway.
Who would you start at the centre back positions, Justice?
You know what? Put them all in a cup and draw lots. It's not. I still think our best one-on-one defender is Benoit Badiashile, and that's just one-on-one defending. I'm not talking about anything else. He's also better in the air than Caldwell is or Fafana is. Yes, I know his passing is not the greatest. Sometimes his decision making is not the greatest, but that's because he's never been asked to do those types of things before. But yeah, I still think, and we've seen it when he was there with Thiago Silva, that he's very, very good defensively if you play to his strengths. Some of these guys just don't have the strengths that maybe Enzo's looking for, and I'm saying Enzo Maresca. But you just can't have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes you need to play to the strength of the players you have on the pitch and design a system that gets the best out of them, not try to put square pegs in round holes. And I think the last two games we've seen that. The gimmicks work for a couple of games, maybe one or two games, and then people figure it out. They figure out that Malo Gusto is not a threat when he gets pulled inside into that 10 position. So just forget marking him. Just take that extra guy and go mark Cole Palmer out of the game.
Yeah, look, Gusto. Yeah, he had the most touches in the offensive half for us.
That's not good.
And from all those touches, 40 plus touches or whatever it was, we only created one chance from him, from his play. So, look, the tactic was good, the way we set up. I think it was just the wrong person in that position, which was Gusto in that 10. It was the wrong person to put there because he could not do nothing with the ball once he got it. It's not his fault because he's not that type of player. He's never played in his life there. But yeah, I think the tactic was good against Man United, but the problem was the wrong player playing in that position. And then he couldn't really get back into right back. He couldn't. He was so far up the pitch, he would get caught out. He wouldn't be able to get back all the way back into right back. So yeah, it was a bit messy with that. But look, the tactic was good. I just didn't. I don't want to see Gusto there getting the ball way more touches than Palmer in that position.
But you have to do that because you're playing a defensive midfield. Now, does that mean that Caicedo and Lavia can't make passes? No. But are Caicedo and Lavia known for their passing? Is that the one thing you go, oh man, we got great Caicedo, he's a great passer? No. He's great at breaking up play, causing turnovers, just being an absolute menace. And Lavia is actually known to be more of a solo six than in a pivot. And so I think, to me, they both get playing together. You have two of the same players on the pitch. They do a little bit different things, but Caicedo can be that defensive guy in the midfield, and you can pair him with somebody else if you had a proper center back turn behind them. And that's something we have to solve. I don't want to see another striker come in. You act like everybody acts like Jackson's a scrub. He can't do anything. Okay, well, he's one of the highest scoring strikers in the league right now. Him and Palmer look like they have some sort of connection. Why would you go spend more money in offense when you have a defense that needs to be solved, a center back pairing that needs to be solved? And no, I'm not talking about bringing another goalkeeper in because we got 13 million of them. They have their own locker room.
You started off saying, and that's why we haven't seen Enzo Fernandez play, because we are putting that extra defensive midfielder to cover our defense. So yeah, coming back to Enzo Fernandez, would you start him against Arsenal?
Would I? Yes, I
Yes.
would. I would start him, but I'm not the coach. The coach is not going to start him. He's going to start
Yep.
Lavia and Caicedo. The only hope I have is that he does not play James and Gusto together. That he does bring because Cucurella didn't get a minute,
Yeah, I
right?
think he'll be back at left back, I think, in this game.
So I would love to see Cucurella and James. And if you're going to pull one in, I don't think that he wants James running up and down the pitch as much.
Yeah, he'll be right in the back, most likely.
Yeah, he'll again be the deep line playmaker but from the right hand side.
Yep.
That means that Cucurella will push up a little bit higher, um, and maybe he'll leave Palmer up higher on the pitch because of his knee. And look, whenever you have a knock like that, you're not going to be 100% the next week, right? We just know that. You're not going to be 100%. Now, what percentage is he at? We don't know, but take some weight off his shoulders, and that'll help his knee out a whole lot. Get him up the pitch, let him play in combination with Jackson and Neto and Madueke, because those are going to be the starting four up top. It's not going to change. The only change I think he makes is Cucurella coming in for Augusto. Never. Other than that, it's going to be the same lineup.
Yep. So you think they'll start Nani on the right and Neto on the left?
Absolutely, because we don't know if Sancho is fit. Mudryk played 90. I thought he actually was. He's playing a lot better than we've ever seen him play. So the thoughts that Mudryk's going to be sold, no. I've already told everybody that Madueke will be sold before Mudryk. That's for one big reason. We have another left-footed talent coming in this summer. So how many
Yep.
left-footed talents do you need on one team?
Yeah, we got a couple of them coming in actually. So
Well, yeah, but I think Paez is slated to go out to Strasbourg already.
yeah, we'll have
So
to
it's just
sweat.
one that'll be with us. And I think that means Andre Santos comes back, which is great because I think he is a more mobile, more athletic version of Enzo Fernandez, much more offensive. He'd probably be our most offensive midfielder uh, playing from that position.
Yep. Cool.
So,
Thanks, Jesters. Yeah, Bobby, anything you want to add to this at all?
Um, no, it's been really interesting hearing all the takes. It's all left to be seen, isn't it? Really, it's a big game for us. I think we're up to it. I think if we turn up, we could upset the long-standing sequence of things. What we need to be mindful of is to keep our heads, keep the intensity of our game going, and we should be all right. We all know what quality of team they are. But we've lived with Man City and in our first game, and were arguably somewhat unlucky not to get anything out of that. We went to Anfield and showed that we actually should have got something out of that. So, as I say, fear not. This could be a game that we can come and really show something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. I agree as well. This is the time. Look, Arsenal are not at their best at the moment, and we did speak about it a little bit earlier that they are a little bit more defensive. They're playing a little bit differently, and it hasn't really worked out for them, especially in the last sort of 4 or 5 games. So they are there for the taking. But then again, the way they are playing at the moment, more defensively and sitting back and then countering and set pieces, that's also our kryptonite. So it's not the best for us, that style. So we'll just have to wait and see. But look, as long as I'll be happy as long as we don't lose, as long as we get a result, I think that's a positive. But of course, hopefully we get the win. That'll be a massive confidence booster, obviously for our team and for our guys. But yeah, that will put a nail a little bit into Arteta's coffin as well. I think he'll be under immense pressure if we somehow beat them. And imagine we do beat him convincingly, then yeah, there's a big chance he could be close to maybe on the way out. But we'll just have to wait and see. Um, all right. Anything else in the chat? Not much. Garvin's there. Big up, Garvin. Nice to see you. Let's talk about the uh, our forward play. So we saw in Kunku, we've seen Felix. Jesters, do you think any of those two players are ready to start for us, on the weekend, or do you think they're just still going to come off the bench? do you think they've done enough to actually start? Do you think Nkunku's done enough to actually start over Jackson, or you still think Jackson's clear?
I
Jackson's
wouldn't go
clear.
with this one. I have a bit of a theory to throw into the mix.
I thought you might,
Um,
Bobby. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think Jackson will start, but if there's any sort of suspicion with Palmer or any sort of anything that will make Palmer not start or have to come off the bench,
Yep.
we might see a Nkunku Jackson situation. It's something that Arsenal would not be ready for. They're all ready for an Nkunku Jackson up there and then our two flanking players. But a twin striking partnership like that, who have played together before and who are extremely dangerous, it could be a starting problem for them. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm interested, but I know at some point this is a game that Jackson will start, but Nkunku will get on the field for sure. He took him
So
off
Bobby,
against.
just to clarify, you would choose Nkunku to play in Palmer's position or Felix if he can't start, if he can't play?
I think he will. He will go with Nkunku. The
Okay.
reason being, Felix played 90 minutes against Noah. And yeah, Felix, these guys will come off the bench anyway, whatever happens in this sort of game. But the reason being is that it's something that a waiting to hit on the break Arsenal is not going to be prepared for. It's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but I think it will give them some real problems. I really do. Especially if they're going to try and sit back and do their big defensive block. And Kunku is such a wily character that you have him in the box as well as Jackson giving you a headache. You're going to concede.
Well, also, I don't know if they have Declan Rice for this game. He broke a toe. And depending on what toe he
Oh, that's right.
broke,
Yeah.
speaking of somebody who's broken both of their big toes in their life, uh, if you break your big toe, which I don't think he has, you'll be out for a long time.
No, it's not the big toe. It can't be the big toe. He'll be out for a
So,
long time. Yeah. No.
so we don't know what toe he broke, but he's most likely, even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%. So right now
Well,
that
even the old metatarsal can be a problem.
yeah,
You break that, you're out for a while as well. So,
We
well,
saw
they're not
Havertz come off
saying.
as well. So wonder if there's anything with Havertz, either with the head injury, concussion, or something like that. So
That's also possible as well. And look, and you have Odegaard just coming off injury, and you know, I know their fan base is happy. I'll be doing a stream later on with Miss Melina, and Carlito, on her channel. But they're happy that Odegaard's back. But it doesn't matter. You come back from that being out that long, you're not going to be, in peak performance, right? It takes time to get back in the rhythm. And for me, Odegaard's not scary anyway. He's a basic player. That's why he's not in Madrid anymore.
It takes him a while to get going. Every time I've seen him that he's been out, come back, it takes him a few games to get going. He's never good from the start. From what I've seen, he's a bit slow. If he comes off an injury or something, he's always really slow to get back into it.
So you're probably looking at a starting midfield of Partey and Marino and Odegaard. That midfield scares nobody in any league. I mean, Partey would be their best midfielder. Partey still is their best midfielder. But again,
not much speed there, not much movement.
Not much speed, not much pace. And then you're going to have, 4 center backs on the pitch. And Timber, who is kind of a center back he'll be playing left back. They'll have Ben White at right back, and they're pairing in the middle. What you need to do is go at them. They are prone to mistakes. Both Saliba and Gabriel this year have been prone to mistakes and giving up yellow cards. And then again, if you get them on a yellow, you can get them on a red. So I would continually attack. I would not sit back. Even if you think there's going to be a counter, you have to trust that you're going to be able to clean that up. But Arsenal will give up the goat. They're going to give it up if you press them and if you apply pressure in certain positions. They're fragile mentally. We've already seen that this year. That's why they get so many yellow and red cards, because they are fragile mentally. We do it because we're out of position and dumb.
Yeah.
We get dumb yellow cards, like talking back to the officials, or not leaving the penalty box in a timely manner, kicking the balls away. That's all dumb penalties. That's just stupidity. They have a lack of character and a weak mentality. When they start getting under pressure, they will fold like a cheap suit. Okay, so it's incumbent on us at Stamford Bridge to go put that pressure on them and break them. There's a quote from Rocky Four, Ivan Drago. I believe it's four. I must break you. That's what we have to do. Hey, we need to break them. And they're right there to be broken. All we have to do is apply enough pressure and they're going to snap.
Well, that's it. It depends how we set up. Yeah, exactly, because we did say the same thing about Manchester United. They're there for the taking, enough pressure and they'll snap. Didn't quite work out that way. We're still a bit more conservative, obviously, with the two defensive midfielders. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I agree. I think if we get ahead in this game, it's important that we don't go behind first. That is very important. The first goal is going to be very important. If we get ahead, especially a couple of goals ahead, I think they will implode. Like you said, they already have this season, and they'll just start fouling, yellow cards, maybe red card, and I think they'll lose it completely. They're not mentally strong enough when it comes to that. I've seen it now the last few games. They're a bit fragile, exactly what you say that Uncle Jesters. So that first goal, and if we can get a second, and I think, yeah, they'll crumble. So that's 100% definitely, you're right on that one. It looks like Carlito's in the chat. Big up, Carlito.
Oh yeah, he
Welcome.
heard me talking about Enzo Fernandez, so he's always in the chat.
Yeah, when he hears the Enzo,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's
He
quickly.
he magically
He always turns
appears.
up. I think he's got it on his phone, an app, something. And if he comes up, it just notifies him, and he comes on every time. Every
That's
time we
it.
talk about Enzo, he's always on here. It
That's
just pops
true.
up out of nowhere.
I just always remind him that he rates Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard. So it's all good. We all have our blind spots.
Hey, we're all right. We're all wrong sometimes, but yeah, he's got his opinions. We all got our opinions, but we're all respectful, which is good. So that's not a problem. So Uncle Justice, he was saying that. So you saw that against. I know it was Noah. It wasn't anyone special. There's a big gap in obviously talent and a lot of things. They didn't help themselves by basically trying to go at us and not really sitting back and defending. They decided to play against us, and that did not work very well for them. So. But the one thing I did see was the first time this season, and we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago with Coach, and we had a big discussion about it. We saw Enzo Maresca deploy that little bit of a different formation, a bit more attacking with the two in behind. So we had Felix, Nkunku, and Guy up front. Do you think something like that? Do you think he would consider doing something like that against Arsenal or against these teams that are sitting back the low blocks, which Arsenal seem to be doing at the moment quite a bit? Do you think that he would go for something like that, change it up, and go a bit more offensive at home and try to go at Arsenal, like you said earlier?
I think that he'll use that as the ace in the hole, right? So you can't always play your trump card from the beginning. You got to hold it back, and I think that'll be his trump card if, especially if we go down 1-0, and they do, because Arteta has already shown that once they get a goal, they're going to park the bus. They're going to play very,
Yep.
very deep. And I think at that point in time, it would be incumbent on the manager to make that change and to play with 2 10s and basically go back to the 4-1-4-1. because again, Moises Caicedo can play as a solo six. I know everybody goes, well, he's better as an eight. Moises Caicedo is a complete football player. He can play
And he
eight.
can. Yeah.
He can play six. I don't think he really can play 10, but again, he can do both the things. And so, yeah, I'd be fine if we go down and they're sitting back, or if it's 0-0 coming toward the end of the game and we want to get a result, to do that, because that absolutely, if you, and for me, still the player you want to bring on is João Felix, because João Felix is much more dynamic and much more direct in the midfield and would cause a lot more problems than Nkunku.
Yeah,
Um,
he is. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I know Bobby that you said earlier. Bobby was saying that he would have Nkunku behind, but I would have Felix behind.
yeah. Well,
He
I would
doesn't
say,
really finish as well. His finishing products hasn't, but he does. He would create a lot more problems. His
right.
technical ability and just his touches and 1-2 triangles. Yeah, he's definitely would. Nkunku doesn't really do that. He's more of a finisher, more direct. So yeah, I would have Felix there as well, 100%.
And if we're going to go to the double tens with, and I think, it'd be Palmer and Felix in the tens at that point, because I have a sneaky suspicion that Palmer is fit to go 90. Um, then I would, again, you'd have to bring in Mudrik on the left wing and move Neto over to the right wing, and then you're talking about speed and directness from the wings, and that would cause them all sorts
And
of problems.
creativity in the center. Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because and it's not like Mudrik and Neto cannot create. They both have shown the ability to make a pass in the box. I mean, Mudrik's
Yeah.
shown that. It's just about the people receiving it finishing it, and
Yeah,
Neto
like
can do the same
last
thing.
season he played a couple of times in the 10 and he actually did quite well, Mudrik, if you guys remember that.
Well, I
A
mean,
long
again,
time ago, he did play in the 10. I remember 2 or 3 games and he actually did very well. But then our ex-manager decided, "No, you're playing too well. You can't play there anymore." So he
right. Well,
moved
he
him
would
on.
play on the left wing, but you'd have a
Yeah.
João Felix and a Mudrik playing 1-2s. On the other side, you would have Palmer and Neto with the 1-2s, and then Jackson would be able to move around and create space, pull a center back. Yeah, it would be very difficult to defend for any length of time with that much pressure. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I brought it up for a reason because, like, when I studied a bit of Enzo Maresca, he did that. He didn't use it often, but he did that a couple of times. I think 2 or 3 times that I've seen against teams like that when he really they were not the best opposition, a low block, and then once he used it against I can't remember the team. That was basically they went down and then to come back and they came back and actually won the game. So he changed it up like the 60th minute. He did that. I haven't seen him do it at all at Chelsea at all yet. And this was the first time against Noah. If we do go down, I would like to see that because I think that's like you said, it's very very dangerous, and we have the players to fit that system perfectly to fit that attacking phase for that. So yeah, 100%. I want to see it more often because look, if we're down 1-0, they're going to park the bus. Arsenal. I'd rather we go for do that. He changes it up, and we either come back, score, win, or if they score another goal and they win on the counter, or at least I want to see that we're going to give it a go. And I wanted to see him do that because I haven't seen him yet implement that tactic yet. And I think it's like you said, it's a bit of an ace up his sleeve, but yeah, I think it's something that he needs to hopefully start using more often.
yeah, again, he will against certain teams that are just going to sit back. We don't have to work, uh, and he would do it more now if he had any confidence that our center backs would hold up.
Yeah, and I think the
Seriously.
scheduling as well has been tough for us this to start off with. I think we've the second worst sort of toughest schedule to start off with. So I think that it was in the back of his mind as well. I think, like you said, trying to be a bit more defensive, not concede as much, trying to get results and keep positive, not actually losing. So I think that's why as well.
Yeah, but I don't mind a 4-2. I'll take a 4-2 every game.
So would I. Yeah, I
I'd
think
rather
a
have
lot
a
of fans
4-2
would,
than a
but
1-0 or a 2-1, or because those games are in the balance. A 4-2 game usually is not in the balance.
Yeah, 100%. Bobby, do you have anything to add to that? You still there, Bobby? No, I think we lost Bobby.
He's having a
That's fine,
tea.
no problem. He always goes in and out sometimes. What else have we got here? There's not too many other questions in the chat for us. Anything? Do you have anything else you want to discuss, Justice? Do you have anything that you've seen or that you think that's important? Any news you've read recently? Because I have looked and there's not much happening at the moment. So,
No, the Enzo Chouamini swap is still out there.
do you think that's real or that's just
Well,
rumors?
look, when I make analysis of trades, or in this case, buying players, um, I I use my IT skills, right? Critical thinking, problem solving.
Yep,
So what is Real Madrid missing right now? A deep line playmaker, right? That's what Kroos
exactly.
did.
What a replacement for Cruz,
Yeah.
Modric. Yeah,
And then you add on top of that Latin American players love to play in La Liga.
slower, a bit slower, more technical. Yep,
Yep. Um, and the scuttlebutt is that they're not really happy with Chouamini. Um, again, having Chouamini and Camavinga on the pitch is like having Lavia and Caicedo on the pitch at the same time.
exactly.
They're
Defensive.
great.
Yep,
That's great defense, but you're not creating a whole lot from that midfield pairing, right? And then you have Bellingham, who gives you no creativity either. He just runs about a lot. Not a fan of Bellingham, by the way. I think he needs to develop more of a game.
yep.
His athletics are not going to carry him at this level. Just like Kylian Mbappe, your athletics are not going to carry you at this level. You have to develop some game, some ball knowledge. So I think that for both teams, look, if we get a Chouameni in, then you have a rotation next summer or next year of Lavia, Caicedo, Chouameni, and Andre Santos playing in your six role, which is great. So I've seen that. Of course, we've got Aaron Anselmino, the prospect out of at Boca right now.
Yeah, I really
Uh,
like him actually. I
yeah,
think,
he's really good.
yeah, I think he's going to be really good to us. Great addition to the squad. I think, yeah, I like the way he plays. He's very technical. He's fast. He's pretty strong for a young age. I like his all round game. Yeah, I was excited about that signing, and I think he'll come in and yeah, really challenge some of these centre backs. I think.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, the bar is really low on our back position,
Yeah,
so
it's a bit low. Yes.
it's not like we have world beaters out there. So, um, look, in January, I know that City is going to have to do something if they want to stay in the Champions League and stay toward the top. Does that mean they're going to have to move an asset or two? Are they going to have to move a Ruben Diaz to go out and have the money in the coffers to go bring in the players they need to bring in?
DS is one of those. Yeah, we've been linked to.
Yeah.
Do you see something like that happening? I don't personally. Just because
Mm,
his
it
wages would
would,
be astronomical.
his wages are actually not that high. I think he's on like 165 grand a week.
Yeah, if he moves though.
But again, you could sometimes see everybody is worried about our pay structure and it don't fit our pay structure. Well, for the right player, you'll extend that a little bit, right? We saw that with
Yeah,
Osa.
once the team develops and we get to that,
Right.
I think that's always been the plan. Once the team grows together, develops a certain, and we're up there, we're close. I think the next stage of that plan is basically to sign players to top that up, and they're willing to go for quote unquote star players to, you know, to fill that. Something very similar that they did with the Dodgers, basically. So, and they've said it that that's the plan. So far, the plan's going ahead. What they said from the start, I've been following it, and for me, it's going along exactly what they said. That's yeah. I don't know when that will be. If it's next, this year, next year, or the year after. I think it depends where we are and how we're doing as well.
Yeah. Also, I like the kid we were looking at from Forest and Munoz. He looks really good.
Which one? Sorry,
Center back.
from Forest,
I think it's from Forest. Yeah.
Murillo.
Murillo. Excuse me, Murillo.
Yes, Murillo, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he looks very good, and I understand why we scouted him. So
Yeah,
anybody,
he's a versatile player, centre back, can play left back, centre back.
yeah,
He's played defensive midfield before. He's another one of those that can do it all. He's a bit shorter. That's the only thing. He hasn't got height. He's only, I think, 5'10" or 5'11", so he's quite just under
that's
six
neither was
foot.
Thiago. That's the same height Thiago Silva was.
Yeah, yeah. So he's a little bit shorter, stockier, but we don't have really that profile, so it doesn't really, it's good. He's got speed, he's got strength.
Right.
So yeah, it's about balance in the back line, and I think he could provide that. He's a good player too. But I know our fan base is going to go crazy if we sign another young player.
Well, that's the profile we're looking at, and we're
Yeah,
doing that for a reason. Everybody talks about, oh, we're just going to be a factory to sell players. Well, folks, you have to understand that we aren't Man United. We're not Real Madrid or Barcelona. We don't
yeah.
have this huge money making machine that makes us, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars a year like they do. We make hundreds of millions, but you understand, close to, they're making 700, 800
Yeah, it's a
million.
massive gap. Yep.
There's a massive gap to what we make. So um, we have to be able to buy correctly, because not every young player you buy is going to be necessarily a long stay. And that's why you're building um, a pipeline of players. So when somebody gets to a certain point and somebody comes in for, I'm not going to say Cole Palmer because people lose their mind. Let's see,
No.
let's just say from a Dweke, we can take an easy one. Okay, you can get. We bought Madueke for like 20 million, I believe. You can sell
Yep.
him in the Premier League for double that,
Double
40
that. Yeah,
million.
double your money. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the plan. That's why they were doing it this way, because the ones that don't quite make it, or the ones that are a little bit good but not good enough, well, they can move on, and we've seen plenty of them move on already that we've bought, and they've moved on already. So, like you say, we have to do that. That's the way. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, and then that's the way for the non-huge uh, Galactico clubs to keep up with the Joneses as it may.
Well, and the
Um,
new rules as well, especially the new PSR rules and everything. One thing we are ahead of the curve. I think we're ahead of a lot of clubs with that.
right.
So that's a big positive. I think that's a big tick for the management and the ownership, and I think we're quite ahead of the curve with that one. So a lot of the other teams are going to quite struggle with that, and we've seen that already. Newcastle couldn't buy anyone. A lot of these big teams, it's going to be very hard for them. Man United, after with the squad now they have, and some of the players that are just going to be stale there with massive salaries, they won't be able to really move them or buy that many other players anymore. So I think we're ahead of the curve with that one. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think still probably, yeah. I think another year, next season, I think we should be very close, and I think the season after, that's when I'm sort of looking at that we should be pretty much up the top, in my opinion.
Well, let me pose a different theory to you. And again, I looked at all these teams and their squads and what they did this summer before I made my predictions this year. I had still had Man City at the top because they're Man City. They've won four in a row. You don't bet against them, right?
They find a way.
They find a way. They have Pep, um, but that's an aging squad with a lot of
Yeah, it
miles
is.
on it, and it's not a deep squad, right? So if they get enough injuries, they're going to be what they are now. And they've gotten those injuries. And then I looked at Arsenal, and Arsenal do not
Same
have
thing.
as good of players as Man City, and they have no bench as well. That's why I
Nope.
picked them to come in fourth, because they weren't injured the last 2 years. They didn't have major injuries to key players. Well, they've
No,
already
and they'll
had
make
that
a lot
this
of
year.
fun of us about it, and it's their turn now. So
Yep. So they have this year. So that's why I said they'll come in fourth, because they have no, but they don't have quality coming off that bench to match the quality they have in their first team, which I don't
no
think is
creativity. Yeah, no creativity at all,
which
really.
is which is at the level of those top teams.
Yep.
They the some of the parts are better than the parts, right? Nobody's in there and going, I'll have that person on my team. There's a very few Arsenal players you would pick and want in your squad. The overriding one is Saka. Okay, great. Saka is a very limited player. He's a one-footed player.
Yep.
And if people would defend him correctly, he wouldn't score a whole lot. Plus, most of his goal contribution comes from the amount of minutes they've put on this kid, which means in a couple of years he'll be broken down and not ever available because you cannot. I mean, there's only so many miles you can put on a set of tires, right? For those of you who own cars, they have once you go through a certain amount of miles, you got to change your tires because the steel is showing.
100%. The players that start very young. Yep.
You have to manage those minutes, and they just throw him out there and throw him out there and throw him out there. And again, he's had a big knock. Is he 100%? Well, it doesn't matter. He's going to play 90 minutes.
He'll play. Yep.
Yeah. And those things start to add up on those legs. I've always said that the difference between the elite player and the average player is like 3%. Okay? Because all of those guys on the pitch are good. I mean, they go anywhere else against just your average pub team, and they look like world-class players. So even the average players can play football. Let's not get it twisted. So your elite player is about 3% better than those players. That's about it. And you lose some of your athleticism with soccer because he relies heavily on those athleticism. Maybe a ball that you play or a ball that you could get to before you don't get to, or your move, which is basically step over and cut to the left because you don't have a right foot. People start, maybe that motion's a millisecond slower and the ball gets nipped off you. That's all it takes for you to become star boy to fall off a cliff.
Yeah, it's fine margins at that level. It's fine margins. Yep, 100%.
But so you look at then Liverpool. Everybody's like, "Oh, Liverpool's a monster." Okay, Liverpool are one injury away to either Mo Salah or Virgil van Dijk to dropping massively in the table.
Yeah, they're in the same boat, basically. Yeah,
because they don't have anybody to replace those players. Well, you got Kwanzaa. We don't need to talk about his off-field things, but and then who's going to replace Mo Salah in that team?
Well, that's the big one, Salah, and there's not that much. Basically, him, maybe Diaz, like I said, Van Dijk, and they struggle. If those players are out, they're completely going to fall apart as well.
Right, and so they're not young. They have a lot of miles on their legs, and so they all play internationally. So it could happen in an international game, just like it happened to, I think Odegaard was in an international game. It just, things happen like that, and if you don't have the squad to cover for it, you're in deep crap. So that's
especially
why
modern football, the way the modern football's played. 100%. Yeah, you need a bigger squad. That's something that everyone at the start of the season, we got such a big squad, it's no good. I'm happy we got a big squad because you need it in modern football. You need that rotation. You need that competition for places. I saw it as a plus. I was happy that we had it because I know injuries will come, suspensions, whatever, but injuries will come eventually. You can't avoid injuries. They will happen. So having that squad, the depth that we have, I think it's going to be very beneficial during the season because it is a very long season.
Well, let's go to January. Not January, the December fixture mess that the congestion in December. Okay, well, which team around the top four, in the top four right now, is most likely to handle that with the squad they have? It would be us, because we are in a competition where we don't have to play our best players in Europe, right? We can rotate 11, and we have enough quality in that squad to where if you need to rotate on a midweek game, because we have midweek, weekend, right? You can do that as well, because you can play James one game and play Gusto the next. Is Gusto as good as James at his best? No. But is the drop off that dramatic? No.
No, yeah.
Same thing with Vega and Cucurella. Even our center backs, even though center backs should never be really tired,
No,
You
they
can
shouldn't.
rotate in that midfield, right? You can bring Enzo in for one of those games and rest a Caicedo or a Lavia. You can bring a Zhao in for one of those games and rest a Cole Palmer, right? You can bring in Nkunku in one of those games and rest a Jackson. You know, whoever the starting winger is in, we have backup wingers that the, the the difference in quality is not as great as most teams in the Premier League. They drop off drastically, bar one or two players off the bench, and so they're you know all those all that time and all those miles that they have on their legs toward the end of the season is going to catch up to them because they're human, they're not robots. And so all I want us to do is come out in January and be around the top four because we will eventually figure this out on defense when he will figure out who is going to actually be able to play in this team unless
This is where I want to continue because I've been listening, and this point
Coming, Bobby.
is a point I was just listening to Kalito what he was saying, and
Uncle Jester's
you
not
see,
Colito.
so I'm so sorry. I don't know why I've got Kalito in my brain.
I am so offended.
Um, sorry, Uncle Jess. Um, yeah, you see, this is what our project is modeled on. It's modeled on longevity of standard throughout a season, mainly because we've also received a warning from FIFA about the Club World Cup that we must turn out our A team, as it were. I know we will. And so we know after the experience we had last season, the importance of rotating players. And what a lot of people are being blindsided by. This season is still quite young. It really is. We're just in November. And you've mentioned that December period, which is notorious for teams to collapse, especially us with our injury record and so on. This kind of late November into early December, middle December, end of December, January is key. And that's where your rotation matters. And that's why I'm so thankful that we're playing conference league, because this is where we exercise the squad. We get them all used to being able to slot in. And another point that I know for a fact, all these players that people often mention, oh, so and so is not playing in the Premier League, oh, he's going to be sold, and so on. I kind of smile when I can hear that, because I can assure you that these people are not going to really switch it up from the model they're working on. They're working on a developmental model with these youngsters. Yes, there'll be some additions here and there, but there's some core youngsters they want to keep in the team for at least another 5 years. At least, because they've given them 9-year contracts anyway. And the plan going forward is to work with them. So, whether, people think, oh, this guy's going to go here, he's going to go there, I can tell you it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Maresca knows it's not going to happen. He knows the charge that was given to him. And that's why he's playing like this. That's why he's using certain players in certain competitions to just keep them abreast. He's also preserving them, and we're not in the pressurized situation that a Champions League competition would have given us. If you're in the Champions League, you've got to play your A1 team twice a week. By the time we get back into that competition, this squad will be used to being interchanged. You can play this, you can play that, and as you've all rightfully said, the drop off within players is marginal, and that's the aim of this project. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally agree. You have to
well
have
said, Bobby.
that going forward because again, we have the Club World Cup this summer. I believe we'll be in the Champions League next year. Then you have the Champions League and the whole new season. You have to have enough quality in your team to where if somebody goes down, it doesn't ruin your entire season. And that's what Liverpool have. That's what Man City has right now, and that's what Arsenal's had. You lose one guy and you don't you look like a shadow of yourself. You can't have that in the amount of fixtures you have in a year. You can't lose, let's say, and I don't rate Odegaard at all. And they lost him, and they don't look like they have any creativity in the team. And that guy really isn't that creative. So
Yep.
I'm sitting here thinking, is okay. Well, you're
He
now.
is a good player, Uncle Jesus. He
I
really is. I think Real Madrid ruined the day they let him go, to be honest, but that's just my opinion.
I don't think so. I think they're very happy to let him go. And so then they're saying, okay, well, we got a 17-year-old. You're going to put all that pressure on a 17-year-old? Okay.
Okay,
Well,
they have
ride or
Sterling.
die.
They have Sterling jesters.
Well, it's not sterling silver.
I'm just saying Sterling, Havertz, they got our X's there. So yeah.
Yeah, all our exes. Yeah, that's a good country song, but it's true. Um,
You
and
mean all our rejects?
yeah, so
But
Same thing.
I think that everybody needs to show a little bit of patience. I've already heard some people say Maresca out. Like, what the hell are you talking about, man? Maresca out because we didn't get results. We haven't lost since Liverpool, folks. Yeah, I know we got some draws we didn't really like.
well,
Okay.
Newcastle, that was somehow that didn't hurt me, that Newcastle loss. I kind of saw it coming a bit
Yeah, okay.
because
I was
because
talking about Premier League.
I know what the plan is. We're still trying to get ourselves to that position where no matter who we play and what team we put out, they'll be able to deal with it. And by the way, that team should have actually got a result at Newcastle. It was our finishing that did us there. And
Mhm.
sometimes you have a bad day in the office,
Yeah.
and that was one of them.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sorry. I was thinking more of Premier League. You know.
Yeah, that's the cup, our sec B team, and let's not forget Newcastle played half the team. There was their starting quality players that they were a bit under pressure, so they had to perform, and they really went hard at us in that game. So yeah, look, it can happen. I'm not too worried about that one. It's just the Carabao Cup, to be honest, but it can happen. So I don't really mind look into it too much. That one is exactly
I believe in
look
the
at
early
more the
rounds of the
Premier League.
FA Cup, we'll play the other team too,
Yeah,
depending on
yeah,
who the matchup is against. But again, our focus has to be getting back in the Champions League, and so
exactly.
to that to that end, he's going to make sure that the players he plays in the Premier League are fit and are not tired. So if that means we just win the, the the Conference League this year, okay, it's a trophy. It's a European trophy. That's much more than our two London rivals can say. They can't even win any European trophy. So I'm fine with the Conference League trophy this year and making top four, because then I know
Well,
I'm
the
back.
season's not over yet, and they're still in Europe, so let's wait and see. But
Uh,
I would take the Conference League for sure. I think that was a very important trophy for us to win,
I
for
think we're
sure.
in the box seat for that one. To be honest, the
I hope
opposition's
so.
there's not
But,
that many good opposition that we're going to come up against. So we're
but you
pretty
and
much
I
safe
both know,
for a reason.
football doesn't give any guarantees. But yeah, I get you. You know what I mean? We still, just like Moresca said, he said, you know what? He's not even going to say anything about it. If we get to the final, then he's going to start talking.
Correct.
So we just have to keep going the way we're going. But I think it's a very important trophy for us to win. I really do.
Oh yeah, and again, we get that, we get top four. Then this is what happens if you get back in the Champions League. First of all, we have a new shirt sponsor, and not just, I shouldn't say shirt sponsor, a kit sponsor. We'll go away from Nike, and we will get Jumpman 23, which would be a larger payout. Okay, that helps, and then your kits will be a lot nicer. Then you'll have be able to get the 50 million in front of the shirt sponsor, right? It helps with building the entire structure.
You're not a fan of
So
the kids, Jester?
I, I'm not a fan of Nike at all.
Oh, right. Okay.
Just because I don't like businesses that exploit child labor. I'm, I don't care who you are. That's just wrong. So I'm not a fan of Nike. The kits have been meh lately. You get one kit that's good, and the rest of them are meh. This year we got two kits that are pretty good, but the blue one really, I, I, I don't
That's Bobby's
want.
favorite kit ever. That's his favorite kit, right, Bobby? We've missed Bobby again. Yeah, that's his favorite kit. He said that's the since a very, very, very long time. It's his favorite kit that he's ever
Oh,
seen. This our home kit this season.
well, I don't care about what Nike shoes look like, and I don't want them on my kit. Oh, we're celebrating this shoe. I don't give a damn. We're Chelsea Football Club. Why don't you celebrate some of our past kits? Modernize some of those. I don't care that our kit looks like a shoe you made back in the 90s. No, I don't care about that. So that helps with our finances, right? And then Chelsea's back. Chelsea is Chelsea again. And of course, when you're in Champions League, you have more players open to coming your way, and more teams want your players. So it's a benefit to the club as a whole. And then people need to take the blinders off, right, and look at the picture, the big picture. A lot of these men could be hooked up to carts and pull carts, because when you hook up a horse to a cart or buggy, they put blinders on the horses so they can't see, and they can only see straight ahead
Right ahead, yeah.
because they don't want them to be frightened. That's what most of our fan base looks like. They have these blinders on. I can only see what's in front of me. I can't look at the big picture. And the big picture is we're in a great position to dominate English football and European football, as it may, for the next 5 years. People don't understand that. We're not just we're going to hit it one time and quit it like we have in the past because we couldn't sustain a
I
large
agree.
run.
I
Go ahead.
agree. And it takes time to build that. And that's exactly what we're doing. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
So do I. Yeah, 100%. And they have a great model which they are following, and it has worked for them. So they're implementing it with us as well. And I agree 100%. I think we will see that they're trying to set us up to dominate, not just compete or be close top four like Arsenal, except they're building us to compete, to dominate, basically for a long period of sustained time. That's the main goal here.
Yeah. And they're doing a great job. So everybody needs to lay off the directors, the sporting directors, the
Well,
scouts.
look at what the Dodgers are doing.
Yeah,
I'm no baseball person. I'm an Englishman, but the way they took that World Series from all the people I know that are into that sort of stuff, it was pretty dominant. They'd gone what they went 3 games, then 3-1, and then they smashed the fourth one, something like that.
Yep.
It was just a comprehensive win, and they've taken their time to build that team, and this is exactly what they're doing with Chelsea.
absolutely.
And just to add to that, sorry, that just to cut in.
No,
Yeah, to add to that, basically, when the team got really, really good and they grew together, that's when they went hard and signed 2 or 3 big superstars, and they really put the money down, and they signed pretty much 2 or 3 of the best in the league in the MLB, and now they are set up. Basically, it's going to be hard for them to really lose. They're set up again to win, probably dominate for the next 5 years plus easily, I think. So they've set them up very similarly, and that's the model that they try to implement at Chelsea. But yes, it does take time, unfortunately. But you're going to really reap those rewards once that happens.
oh, absolutely. They've got the structure in place. I know it was kind of janky in the beginning. That's because we had no sporting directors. We had nothing. We were doing it on the fly. And yes, mistakes were made. But since the sporting directors have gotten in here, there's a plan in place. They're following the blueprint. They're following the plan, and it's working. Okay, we went from 12th to 6th. That's a six. That's a 6 place improvement, year over year. It
With massive injuries.
Yeah. And
and
so
not the
Most
best
teams.
manager.
so if you were 12 then 6, what's the next place you go? If you improve 6 places, right, you're probably not going to improve 6 places again because then you're getting into better competition, right? So if you can approve 3 places, half of what we did last year, that puts you in third. I had us coming in second this year because of the injury thing, knowing that we had the squad to deal with it. Nobody else around us did. Aston Villa's starting to fall off a cliff because they have to play their A team twice a week. And when you do that to players, those players are not used to doing it. So yes, they do rotate some players, but basically they're playing the same team in the Champions League and in the Premier League. And that is going to weigh on those players and they'll fall off a cliff later on in the season.
Yeah, and especially how the European competitions are set up at the moment as well. You can't really rest that many players, and you win the group, you're way ahead. It's like the league table now, so you got to actually stay up high. You can't really put your worst team out because you'll slip down pretty easily, and you won't get a favorable draw later on. So yeah, it's even that setup that's been implemented this season in these competitions. I think that really will affect that as well.
And I think going forward, what you'll see is the teams that are in Europe's big competitions, because you're basically playing 2 seasons, a Premier League season and a European season, right? That's basically what it is now. That you'll see more and more big teams throw away cups because even with our squad, you're talking about 4 competitions. If you're in Champions League next year and you've got that many games in Champions League, that many games in Premier League, you're going to have to pick one of the cups at least to play in and actually go full out. You can't do it in all 4 competitions because eventually, even with a rotated team, if you come up against a team like a Newcastle who, hey, that's their trophy this year. If they want to win a trophy, maybe it's going to be the Carabao Cup. And so they're going to go full out in those things. And if you're playing a rotated side, you're going to get caught eventually. It's just going to happen. And you're going to have to rotate because your main focus are going to be Premier League and Champions League. And so I think that's great because some of the smaller teams will actually have a chance in competitions like that to bring home some silverware, which, I don't like watching leagues where there's no competition, right? I like the competition. I like the fact that smaller teams have a chance to pick up trophies because it makes the viewing more enjoyable, right? It's nice to watch you stomp a team in the ground like we did, but you don't want to see that week in, week out. It kind of gets boring.
Yeah,
So,
100%. No, well said there, Jesters. Just going back, I see Coachella asked a question for you, Jesters. He's saying, "Are you saying we're in the title race?"
well, if Arsenal are in the title race and Aston Villa's in the title race and Man City's in the title race, we're top 4 right now. So, do I think
Like
it's
Coachella would
feasible?
say, we're mathematically there's a chance.
Mathematically, yes. Mathematically, yes. Do I think we have a chance? I would say no, with a but in that no. If you see Liverpool start dropping like flies, Virgil van Dijk or a Mo Salah goes, well, then you have Man City with all their injuries, Arsenal being not the team they were. Who else you got? That would then at least give us an outside chance to get the Premier League this year. Sure. As long as we're there or thereabouts toward the end of the season, we're going to be the freshest team in the Premier League with the least amount of injuries, most likely, because we do rotate our side so heavily. So other teams can't say that. So, when fatigue sets in after the umpteenth million international break, right? We got another one coming up. All those guys playing those as well. So the mileage they're going to have on their legs by the end of the season will give us a chance if we're close. And that means quit drawing games, putting teams to the sword when you can put them to the sword. Right?
More aggressive. Yep.
You can't keep drawing these games that you should be getting 3 points in. You can go back and look at the Palace game. We should have got 3 points there. I think we should have got 3 points against United, but we didn't play very well.
Even Liverpool, to be honest.
Yeah. Liverpool, we should have at least gotten a draw. I thought City, we played well enough. Playing in the run of play, and the way we played, we should have got a draw. The first game of the season, City, we should have gotten a draw.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Look, the good thing this season is not like last. We know we're not going to get blown off the park, and we're going to be in pretty much every game, and much more confident in that. Coach Hiller keeps saying that he's much more confident this season. It's not like last season where we'll lose 4-1 the next game, we'll get smashed, then 3-0, then we'll win 2-1, and yeah, it's much more balanced, and there's it's you can just see it, and you can sense it that we're just not gonna get we're not that team that's gonna get heavily beaten again like that, and be that inconsistent, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, it's been real. It's been fun, but my stomach is growling. It's like, go get some breakfast, man. That is
Yeah, I was just gonna
exactly
wrap
what.
it up. Just
That's
as let's just wrap it up. I'll wrap it up right now. Then, just a final question: what do we think the score is going to be on the weekend against Arsenal? If you can give us a prediction, Chester. I'm not sure if you like predictions or not.
I hate them because I can see it going one of two ways. I can see it being a scoring draw, just because our defense is going to gift them. Our defense is going to gift them chances. They're going to have chances to score goals against us. We all know this. Now, do they
will.
take them? That's the big thing. If they don't take their chances when we gift it to them, then I think we do get the win. I think it'll be like a 3-1, because I don't rate very many players on that team. I think they're massively overrated. Arsenal fan base does a great job of thinking every player they have is the best player at that position. They're really not. Again, there's a handful of players that can play for the top teams in Europe that they have, and that's it.
Pretty much.
I'm talking about like 2 or 3.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm going to say 3-1. Might as
Okay.
well.
Good. Nice, positive. Well done there, Bobby. You want to chip in?
Yeah,
Bobby.
I mean, I don't do scores,
Yeah, I know you don't.
but
What do you, result maybe?
yeah, I mean, I think, look, we can win, definitely. People are making some good points about perhaps they're not in the best of form. I think Uncle Jesters has made some very good points about perhaps the overrated quality of the team. No, I still think they're a very good outfit. They have a lot of experience there. Um, they always have their injuries come back when they're playing against us, and the referees tend to favor them as well.
I knew you were going to mention the referee.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's always part of the game with us, part of what we have to play against. But I think there's something about this new Chelsea setup that's very dangerous. Offensively, we can be really, really, really dangerous. I mean, we've witnessed this season how we've actually torn some teams apart. Trouble is, we start having our little bozo moments when we don't finish when we should. And of course, we know very well what our defense is like. However, they're due a good performance. They're young, they're somewhat inexperienced, and having the know-how to put teams to the sword is still part of what they're learning to do. So, having said all that, I think we can beat them. We turn up against Arsenal, we beat Arsenal on Sunday.
Very good, Bobby. Nice and positive as well. All right, guys. Thanks, Justice, for popping by, and Bobby, as always. Coachella, you can wrap it up whenever you're ready, because I don't have access to this system. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up. I'll just go ahead by saying I just don't want us to lose. A result, as long as we don't lose, as long as it's I'm okay with the draw. Hopefully a win, but as long as we don't lose, that's the key for me. Just don't lose with this tough run that we've had. I want us to stay ahead of Arsenal. If we draw, we stay ahead of Arsenal at least. So I'll take that. I'll be happy with that for now. All right, guys, take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next stream. Take care, guys.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build